Live.
Live. We are
now.
Now.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Transformers the Show, episode 247. Your weekend starts here.
It's time for Transformers the Show! From Michael Bay to Marvel UK, everyone on in between. Breaking news and toy reviews, every robot fan's wet dream. Grab a brew and join the crew, become part of our scene. Bring your mom, let's drink her on, make sure you're at least 18. Welcome to the show, the party and the flow. Friday nights, let's go, Transformers the Show!
Nothing like live internet. Good evening, everybody. I am Peter, your host this evening, joined by two Transformers the Show Hall of Famers, Jamie the Camera Liddell. Give them a wave, Jamie. Excellent, top man. Right on time, every time, Mr. Andy Ride.
Beautiful stuff.
I've spent ages thinking about those things.
You practiced this, haven't you, in front of the mirror?
Yeah, genuinely, I have, because I was like, does Jamie the Camera Liddell make him sound like a peeping Tom? I don't know.
That's what it does. Yeah, that's not very good, Pete.
Anyway,
the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that we've got a special guest tonight, Mr. Mr. Billy Edwards from Transformers Nation. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am not the ballerina type. Hello, how are you doing? I'm good.
Billy,
I've got some terrible lag on the line, I'm afraid. So.
Oh, no.
Right.
That's what happens when you have so many good-looking people at the screen at once.
Destroying the internet piece by piece.
The network struggling. How far behind are you, Billy?
Interestingly, I think I'm in sync with Pete, but nobody else. So let me see if I can.
I'm not so sure about that. Oh dear. Right. Okay. Shall we crack on with the news?
Yeah. Whilst Billy's getting his network sorted out, we just wanted to take a second to welcome our new subscribers. We've seen a massive uptick in subscribers for the channel and also followers on our other social media platforms. So whether this is your first time with us or you've been with us since the beginning, welcome. Thank you. Every like, share, and comment that people make, really appreciate. We're so appreciative of it.
Especially the people in the chat. You best be liking us because we know where you live. We've bought stuff from you. We know your addresses.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, Jamie, threaten the audience. That's the way. The secret to success.
We know
where you live. That's why he's Jamie the Camera Liddell.
It was until Billy was gone. Now we pretend to be nice. He's back.
Now, quick, before anything else goes wrong, let's start the news.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
I'll pop it in. There we go. Right. News. Right. So we'll start off. Last week, we were discussing the fact that we needed to see some comparison shots of the new Studio Series 86 Galvatron next to like one of the existing Galvatrons that we've got, and people have obliged. So these photos were from Memetronus, who shared a couple of comparison shots with the Generation Select comic. Every time without fail. Anyway, there's one of them. See, I mean, it's the same toy. It's just a slightly different paint job on the Studio Series 86 Galvatron, and the Canon, obviously, which they've gone for the opaque plastic.
I really like.
What can you say?
I really like the colours.
Well, you're allowed to, Pete. It's not a bad thing. You sounded like you're apologising.
I'm just waiting for him to kick me.
We're just not in the
Well,
Christmas
that will
list
come.
anymore.
But it's there. If people really want it, and some people are going to get it just because it's another Studio Series 86 figure, and if you've got the rest of them, you may as well get that. Personally, I still prefer the comic book colours one. That's a personal choice, and everybody can make their own choice on that. We also had some in-hand photos of the new 8-link Leader Class Rise of the Beast 8-link Studio Series figure. These ones, I forget who these came from now. I'll try and find it while we're having a look at them. But again, in-hand photos with comparisons with Optimus Primal that we've already seen, and which it's a slight remold of. I mean, I don't particularly collect these movie bots. Anybody? I mean, Jamie, you've got some of them, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, a good number of them. I do really like the transformations. I do think, I know Bayverse movies sometimes get slated, but I do think they came up with some of the best original designs you're ever going to see in our lifetime, maybe. And I think they look fantastic. I'm just a bit disappointed with this, in a sense. It should have came out when the movie was at its peak, and I think Hasbro keep missing a trick there with, you know, letting the good movies die because they don't support it with merchandise. And those two bots, if anything, deserve a head swap, you know, so you can have one without the faceplate and one with, you know, which they can show because they've got the mold in there. They could have done it, and that should be something we should start be taking for granted as well. As simple hands that open and close, not individual figures. We're not asking for too much. Just hands that open and close. We don't want them to do the Klingon stuff. No, the Vulcan stuff even. You know.
Oh dear. The Star Trek lot will be after you now. Oh, that's terrible.
Slot.
I quite like the face-plated look of the 8-link robot mode, but I don't know if that's enough to make me want to pick it up.
I'm pleased to see this on a personal level, convention thing, I guess, because David Sobolov, who joined us a couple of years ago, played 8-link, but at the time wasn't allowed to announce that he played 8-link. I'm sure I'm allowed to announce that now because, hey, it's out there in public. So like that meant that we were not allowed to know who he was going to play. And I think I can now reveal this as well, like, because I didn't find out till afterwards. He wasn't allowed to reveal he was playing that character until he came off the red carpet out of the movie. So on the way into the movie, he was interviewed as, "Hi, I'm the voice of whoever." And then coming out of the movie, "Oh yeah, by the way." And apparently the reason was there was some concern that having two apes might cause confusion with Primal. That's what I'm led to believe. I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, so I think it's cool. I think it's cool that people who collect it finally got it, and I like it because, you know, I think that was a really good role by David. So he got a toy to match it finally.
I think the movie is really good as well, and I do think they should stop treating the audience like they're idiots. I mean, they keep getting these books and you know, like things like The Witcher, and they think, oh, but now we need to dumb it down for the modern audience, and you think, what? Why? I just don't understand it.
Great.
Well, it's coming now, and I know the pre-orders went up, and we'll see a bit more of that a bit later on. And you can get it, and there's them together, just like in the film, if you want to pick them up. Then we had the Hasbro Pulse 1027 event, where they revealed the Fallen as part of the Age of the Primes line and Studio Series 86 Devastator, which has caused a lot of excitement, but also some question marks from some people in the fandom, as always. So we're going to click through. There's quite a few photos. So I think chime in, guys, when you feel like it.
Fallen's ecstatic. I think the Fallen's amazing. Every time I hear, I think it's one of those Eminem rap songs. He's going it really hard, you know. Obviously, we can't play it because we'll get taken off air, but he's just got so much character and personality in just that one figure. And a kind of maybe a new mold. I don't know. People are kind of hoping Studio Series 86 Megatron's coming out of this. I'm kind of hoping Studio Series 86 improved Galvatron comes out of this. That's what I'm really hoping. Yeah.
I should correct myself slightly. It is the Fallen, but it's actually Megatronus as well, who of course has become known as the Fallen, just in case anybody's a bit confused. You're right, JB. I think it's fantastic. And if you got a Megatron from this mold, which I don't think would be that difficult to do, like it would be one hell of a solid fit. It's on the definite buy category that my wife always loves. I mention these things. Yeah,
I like the flames. The flames are excellent, aren't they? They give it so much character.
he's got his own little insignia as well. So I suppose because he predates the Decepticons. And the what's the name of the cannon that he's got? It's got a particular name, hasn't it? Is it the Requiem Blaster? That's the actual kind of fusion type cannon on his arm.
Not Tiffany or something like that.
No, that's what he calls it. But we use the proper name. You were very quick to come up with Tiffany. It's strange. But it just looks epic. And then we had the Studio Series Constructicons as well. So they're breaking them up as we already knew they were. Those dates, though, seem to be out of date already because the first two, Bone Crusher and Scrapper, which went up for pre-order, the date on that has already changed to July from April. So so it seems maybe those dates were optimistic. Perhaps we'll get them early. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're flat out, aren't they?
Hey, they might be. You don't know. You don't know. Got less staff now. They've got more to do. You got Deluxe Bone Crusher and Voyager Scrapper coming in that first lot of them. Then we get that 2-pack of the two Voyagers, Long Haul and Hook, which apparently come with some of the accessories that you need to actually make Devastator. And then you've got the last pair of Deluxe Scavenger and Voyager Mixmaster. So there's the grey model prototype, so you can see the size of it next to Menasor. Everybody happy with that?
Yes. And I'll tell you something. If you've, like me, and got the Fastopedia Combiner Wars Devastator...
do you mean Unite Warriors?
Yeah. You know, Takara, which...
Takara, the Takara version, obviously. Yeah.
What you collectors get.
The one with the elbows.
Yeah, exactly, because it's got elbows. That's the difference.
Yeah. Just be happy you don't need to replace it because it doesn't stop being a good Transformer. Just because something new comes out doesn't stop the older one being, obsolete.
I mean, of the two of them, Scrapper's been fairly well received. Bone Crusher has had some question marks around his appearance. I mean, the alt mode looks fine for what it is. Some have questioned the kind of midriff of the figure. I always thought Bone Crusher looked a bit, even the G1 toy looked a bit janky. But anybody else got a problem with this particularly?
I mean, we all get to a certain point. He did come out in '86. Father Time hasn't been kind to all of us. The middle-age spread does set in at some point. I don't think we should shame him.
Yeah, true.
He's just
very true.
His best life. He's called Bone Crusher because if he sits on you, he
gives you it's the same size. So a Voyager and a Deluxe that are the same size. So we're assuming it's the price difference is a little bit of the engineering and possibly the extra bits you get with it.
I hope there's a lot of extra bits. I've got to be honest. I think you know what? They've given us a good menace, so I'm going to have faith and see what happens when it's fully complete as a team.
Yeah.
Anybody else notice the right leg, which obviously is on the left as we're looking, that it's off center on Scrapper?
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if that's just like the way they put the prototype together and it's a bit like a mistransformation, or if that's how it's going to look. But yeah, like he's got a slightly janky leg there. But anyway, let's not.
One job, Evan. One job.
I mean,
actually, he's probably got more than one. Now, to be fair, again,
makes a good point in chat. He says better than Combiner Wars, but a lot of people had the Takara version, which isn't really Combiner Wars.
You've not mentioned that, Jamie. Which one did you have?
Yeah. It's the better version.
And we're back to the plastic window boxes so that people can't steal the heads of figures, which I've never personally seen over here in the UK, but seemed to be a bit of a problem. In the US, at least, I've seen plenty of photos of figures with their heads just ripped off.
And I think the boxes will be far different. For one thing, they'll probably have the Studio Series 86 transforming the movie on them or something.
I think somebody had said they've removed the 86 part but kept the Studio Series. So
why
it's
numbers are hard
it's on the bottom corner,
though. Yeah, Studio Series is, yes. And it does have Transformers the movie, just without the 86 part. So, yeah. Artwork of Megatronus, which again is epic, and I want on a T-shirt or something like that. or a large poster. That's fantastic. As is that. I'd probably buy the toy just off that artwork, even if I hadn't seen the toy, just because it looks amazing. And then Mark, praise be to Mark, he showed off the packaging for the Age of the Primes Megatronus figure. And what caught people's eye was the picture we can see on the side there of some more of the Primes, which has been blown up. So we have a figure on the far right that many have been comparing to Star Convoy, I believe. And I'm trying to remember who the other two have been. One's Liege Maximo on the left-hand side here. You got Liege Maximo, which we've never had a toy of. I'm pretty sure of saying, at least not one that resembles what we kind of saw back in the was it G1 or G2 comic by the time he turned up? Anyway, it was one of those. G2. And then that's I think Megatronus in the middle, in between them anyway.
The big bad in the G2.
The big, green guy, big horns, and kind of as over time his design got changed a bit, didn't it? So he looked more like what's he called from Marvel, Loki, that kind of look. But yeah, so we know we're going to get the 13 Primes. We don't know that they're all going to be leader class. They might be Voyagers, they might be Deluxes, depending on the actual Prime that it is. But we know we are going to get them. And then we had some comparisons that people have done. So that's one where they've taken that grey model and they've digibashed it with some colour, so you can look at the details on each of them. So Combiner Wars on the left, Studio Series obviously on the right, just in case you couldn't read the labels. That was Team Reviews who shared this, but I don't know if it was Team Reviews who actually did the comparison. Oh no, it was done by a Twitter user called S Stellary. So there you go, credit to S Stellary, and that's how it looks like with the grey model.
I like it. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
And then there's Bone Crusher again.
I'm glad you like it, Pete, because I respect you.
Looks like a Legends figure there. That looks like the little ones. Bless him.
It does, doesn't it?
I'm going to hope these are just renders. And there he is. Yep. Middle-aged Bone Crusher. God bless him. I know your pain, son. Don't worry about it. And yeah, and there's the packaging again. I like the little call out for Devastator on the back of the packaging as well, with that little still from the movie. And the best one anyway, because Scrapper's my favorite, so he's obviously the best one. He does come with the Combiner Wars Devastator gun as well, which is interesting, just because, you know, they're reusing obviously some of the stuff.
He
from
does
Combiner
look
Wars.
good, doesn't he, Scrapper? He's just got
Hell
a
yes,
lot
he
of
does.
personality.
He looks a
sculpt, isn't it?
modern version of the toy. That's the thing. That's if you're a Toon guy, you might be less pleased, but for a toy guy like me, that's great. And there he is. Oh, the constant battle between Toon and toy. Will it ever end? And there you go. Not the most complicated. 17 steps to transform him. Interestingly, nothing really on the box there about his leg mode. So I assume that will come with one of the other figures. And yeah, loads of people were excited about this, and it went up for pre-order, and lots of places where it went up for pre-order are sold out, but I think there are some where it's still available. So we'll move on because we've been on that for a while. DNA Design are doing a Motormaster, animated Motormaster upgrade kit for the Legacy figure, which you have, don't you, Pete?
Yes.
Do you not like this? Because I've got to say, I think this looks epic. I think this would actually make me buy it if it had come like this in the first place.
But that's the thing, isn't it? And the upgrade kit is actually more than I paid for Motormaster.
There you go. You see.
By like another 20 quid. And you're like, does it then make it a nearly 90 quid toy? I don't think it does. I don't know. I don't know. It does look pretty cool. It does look pretty
cool. So you're
cool.
questioning if it's worth it, basically.
For me, I don't think that it makes it a £90 toy. Somebody will, and they'll have a great time with it. I just can't justify it.
Are you a fan of this, Billy?
I'll be honest with you. I don't own a single animated toy. So yeah, I was busy doing other stuff when it came out. It kind of passed me by. So like, it looks cool to me, but I can't imagine it's going to be one that makes its way to Stripey HQ anytime soon.
I mean, I don't think I I hate to get Pete's ire here. I don't think I've got any animated figures anymore. I sold all mine on, but I mean, I still love the cartoon, and I do like some of the designs. This would be one I might pick up, but I'd only pick it up if I could get the DNA design kit. And like you just said, I'd be spending another £50 on that just to. I don't know if it's worth it for that.
That's not to diminish the engineering and the stuff that DNA are put into creating this upgrade kit. It's not that. It's just the fact that when you put it together, it's going to be the same price as Ultra Magnus, and it ain't the same figure as Ultra Magnus.
This is it. This is what people have to think about. But anyway, it's going to be coming, and people are going to have the chance to get it. And we do know lots of people who watch the show who do use and buy upgrade kits. So I do love the gun, though. That gun is awesome. Right, let's move on. It's been a while since we talked about Blokees. So here's some Blokees. Transformers, Blokees, Beyond EX Optimus Prime, and there's also the Megatron. So this is the Optimus Prime and Megatron from the first movie, I believe. Certainly the Megatron is. So by the first movie, sorry. The first live-action movie. Let's be very clear about that. I mean, they look good, and we know Blokees are good. Billy, have you had the experience of Blokees? I know that they were obviously at TFN, but yourself, have you got many of them? Any of them?
I am pretty much all in on Blokees at this point.
Yes, Billy.
I'm not in yet. The reason why I can't say I'm fully all in is because I don't have any of the larger Blokees figures, which I think this is looking at it. But I'll tell you what, looking at that, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, that looks better than it has any right to look. When you look at the small ones, and I like the small ones for what they are. They're like, for anyone who remembers, like the super deformed characters from years ago, like that. They're not quite that cartoony, but they've got that kind of vibe to them. Whereas these look, these look almost like display pieces in their own right. These are really cool. So, yep, fully in on Blokees.
Yeah, these are. I mean, I'm not a Bay movie fan particularly, but these do look good for what they are. And if you want them on your shelf, we know this. And I know Jamie and Pete, you've got some of the Is it the classic size, the bigger ones? So you know that they're decent.
That's what these are.
Quality.
Yeah, that's what these are. The classic class size.
And I should say the photos are from Notrab again. Because the man's doing some great photos that we are able to share with everybody. If you haven't seen them already. But yeah.
Where's
really good
Prime
stuff.
got hold of Megatron?
Well, it's best we don't discuss that. They're just
really
having a
pissed
fun,
off.
and then they're holding hands. Lovely. Old friends. And then we have the Takara Transformers 1 Brave Commander Optimus Prime via Shadow Maru. This is their photos. I think this is the one a lot of people are saying is the best version of Optimus Prime from Transformers 1 that you can pick up at the moment, in terms of its fun and its playability and stuff like that. I believe it's this one, because this is the one with the flip-out guns and things. So yeah, would anybody kind of want to pick this up? I think it is a Takara figure rather than a Hasbro main release. So I don't even know if we're getting this over here. Anybody collect Takara at all?
I think the scale is way off for me, but also the shoulders. The one thing they talk about in all the reviews is the shoulders have got a hinge. It's not like it's what you call rackets, whatever. And so yeah, it's very weak. So when it's holding something, it just won't really hold the position. And
yes,
and that to me would be quite annoying. You'd have to use blue tack to try to, wedge it in.
Yeah, I've seen that. It is a pity.
It's beautiful though. It's beautiful though. The head sculpts are amazing.
But I suppose it is going to affect your posing if they can't even hold their weapon without their arm flopping down every time. So
I mean, Transformers the show is not scared to tell the truth, people. We just
we're not afraid to take on the establishment.
Yes,
and then apologize. I hope they don't hate us. Right. So there's that, and then. Humanity is peaked. So this is the Super 7 Reaction Diaclone Wrecking Crew Devastator, which we've seen some photos of previously, and these are official product shots from Super 7, I believe. And it's Diaclone. So was Devastator ever in these colours in Diaclone? Is that, I'm guessing, where it's come from? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, the man wants you to believe.
Well, so again, so if you close your eyes and believe.
I mean, when you look at the Constructicons, I think they were the first Earth-born Transformers, weren't they? You know, from the Creation Matrix, they were given life. You know, in the comics, yeah. You know, then I guess you could say Jetfire was the real original because he wasn't based on any data. But I always thought the Constructicons should be bigger because the vehicles themselves are massive. You know, and I always thought they were meant to be more in scale with the Dinobots.
I know that there was the Netflix documentary, that Toys That Made Us, and the designer, he was really upset, wasn't he, when he found out that they'd made them Decepticons and bad guys, because apparently when they were created, they were supposed to be good guys, as he put it. So imagine that. Well, we have had Autobot versions of the Constructicons, haven't we? With the was it the Tonka set that came out, and they had Autobot badges on, which is why I didn't buy. I just couldn't bring myself to with the Autobot badges. It just felt wrong. I like the colours. And there's the artwork, because we all like a bit of artwork, don't we?
Artwork.
And then, sorry, go on, Billy.
I said the artwork's cool. That's about all I can say about this.
Yeah, and then it comes down.
Finally, something good we can say about it. There you go. Right. MCM Comic Con, where we had, obviously, Hasbro there in attendance, and Toys R Us was there working with them. And amongst the bots they revealed were some more Studio Series figures. So we've got the Transformers Bumblebee in Studio Series. I don't know what. I thought we'd had this.
We have. This is a sweet new sort of slightly new molding. Bits can come off and makes it a bit easier to transform and put together.
So I'm not going mad then. We have had like something like this before.
I mean, I have the Takara version.
Obviously.
So I wouldn't be getting this. It feels like a downgrade, but it still looks quite cool.
The disdain in his voice.
I won't be getting this.
This is good. It's all these people who missed out when he first came out and part as the Bumblebee wave kind of thing. So I'm glad people are getting him.
Yeah, the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime is coming out as well. Like you said, a lot of people missed out on this and were disappointed because it was supposed to be a very good figure. So it'll give people a chance to get that. These are all available for pre-order, hopefully not sold out. And going back to the Constructicons quickly, apparently Hasbro, at least, and hopefully some of the others, have said they are going to be getting more. So it might be sold out now, but they will be coming back into stock. So you just got to keep an eye on these things. And there's Ape Link again, which they showed off with their official product shots. The only thing about this is, I don't know why, but I look at that one and the legs look bad. Maybe I'm just being harsh, but it just looks bad.
Looks like you just got something from lovehoney.com. You know, you're just like,
Jamie, we're not going to get that sponsorship. I've told you. No matter how many times you bring it up.
Not with that attitude, Andy. Not with that attitude.
Anyway, there's the box for it as well. If you like your Ape Linky. Here we go. And then we had the news, obviously. We knew that John Wadden had been laid off along with about 100 employees from Hasbro. There is a GoFundMe, I believe it is, to help him if you wish to, obviously, if you choose to. He has a member of the family who has illness, and obviously over in America, medical bills can be extremely high. And he has a GoFundMe that's been set up to try and help, I believe it's his fiancée, who has a serious condition. I think it's Crohn's disease. And I read it was $21,000 every 3 months for the treatment that was needed, which just seems mad. I mean, we're so, we can moan about, we're so lucky to have the NHS and not have to worry about that kind of thing. But Jesus. Anyway, if you can help out, if you want to help out, you have the option of finding John's.
These discussions come up quite a lot, don't they, in Transformers community, when people start to complain about the price difference with Hasbro Pulse in America and the UK. And then the UK always comes down to the fact, you know what, we pay a little bit more in tax. I don't really care because we've got things like the NHS, and I know that's paid in national insurance, because there's a lot of arguments on these things. But yeah,
let's not get into the tax and budget discussions tonight. That's a different show. That's That's
what we
very
did last
different
week. I was looking forward to playing Devil's Advocate again, where you take the role of the bad guy.
He loves it. He loves it. And then that takes us on to this. So there's a Hot Wheels barricade, and I believe some of the other car modes from the movieverse that have come out, but they were released and then recalled, particularly the barricade wave. And apparently it was because of issues with the barricade car, which had the wrong number printed on it. And when it's been re-released, they've also removed "to punish and enslave" from the side of it, which apparently was written on the original release, and they've taken it off. I guess they've got reasons for that, but excuse me. That's a set of 5, which includes Bumblebee Crosshairs, obviously Barricade, and then you've got Bugatti Veyron, which is Drift, and you've got the what's it, Pagani? I can't remember what the name of the car is, but that was that weird KSI Sentry or something like that. It was called KSI something. Right. It was the one that fought Bumblebee in Age of Extinction, and he killed it and said he hated cheap knockoffs. But yeah, we've got the re-release. It's been re-released now, and the way to tell apparently is if you do find any of these in a shop, which I guess over here we're less likely to now that since they've recalled it. But the one on the left was the recall set, and it had a sticker over the picture of Barricade. Apparently they all did. So if you're somebody who's collecting these, trying to collect them, ordering them from abroad, you'll know, I guess, whether it was released.
Quite serious to do a complete recall of a toy like that, which is dangerous.
Yeah. Speaking of things that should be recalled, yeah, lead. Anyway, Takara, Tomy, T-Spark, Synergenex, I hate that word, Transformers crossover, Godzilla, Megatron, and Optimus Prime, which we were all so happy to see when they were revealed. And there's been some more photos released by Takara of the figures that will be coming out. They're repaints of the previous figures that we've had, the Optimus Prime, was it Laser G2 Optimus Prime, and it's Grimlock, isn't it? Studio Series Grimlock, but with a different head. In fact, isn't it Sludge's head?
Sludge's head, yeah. That is my. I look at that and I just think Takara. It's like
pain.
It's like the Gondor in Lord of the Rings. It's like what's happened to Takara. You know.
It's just I didn't even. There's other photos. I didn't even bother downloading.
It's so bad that they actually had to put a logo of Godzilla on it just so you knew it was.
So you know, this is Godzilla. You know, this is definitely Godzilla. There's no possible way it could be anything else. But yeah, if you like this and you're buying it, that's absolutely fine. But
Takara collectors.
It's not great. Takara, what are you doing, eh? And then Jamie, you found this, didn't you? Which I've not seen these before. So is this a new?
I was given this by a top secret contact because we don't have enough transforming companies out there.
We don't.
And by golly, I'm glad a new one has stepped up. And this is a new company where they call it snapping things together and to build new figures. And this is something that
it actually officially says snapping things together. It says snap together, I suppose. Yeah,
snap and have fun. Just don't snap an arm or something.
So it's mostly movie designs, isn't it? Is it Trumpeter Plastic Models, which is a Chinese company that's doing these? I'm just looking through the information you shared with us before. I don't know if you have a release date.
I can't say who get it because it's top secret.
Top secret.
Yeah.
I was going to shout out a name then just to try and put somebody in trouble. I won't, just in case it was right. Anyway, cracking on. Oh, there we go. Anyway, no paint, no glue. So a lot like the kit stuff we've been getting, which has all been very good. Hopefully this will be as well. And then we had photos of... There we go. I'm going to zoom back out a bit for this one. So this is the Trainbot Yukikaze, which we saw last week, was it? Or the week before? It's the yellow version of one of the Trainbots that we got that was white when it was originally released. And it comes with a Diaclone combiner head. And it's a Fembot. Got to remember that. It's a Fembot. And there's some photos come out that show it with some of the other...
Fembot. She's shooting pure gears.
I think she's supposed to be fixing him, but okay, maybe she's shooting him. Maybe she just gone, screw it. I
don't know what's coming out of that gun, but it doesn't look like it's fixing.
To be fair, it does look like she's about to club Hopper to death, which seems a bit harsh.
Yeah.
There you go. We have had images previously of the alt mode and packaging and stuff. There's tons of these on TFW 2005, which is where I saw these. If you want to go and have a look at more of them, especially of the actual train modes, I know a lot of people are big fans of trains. So if you want to look at that,
This is the
that's
masterpiece,
the original.
isn't it?
It's MPG, which no longer means the masterpiece scale, does it? This was that big controversy when it was announced.
Isn't it? Be the class scale.
It looks more like it, yeah. It looks
yeah.
more like it scales with Chug than it does with Masterpiece. But there's the Diaclone head. There's all the trainee bots together. I think there's a slightly clearer photo there.
Why?
That were previously released, and some yellow ones. Because people, I don't know. I don't work for Takara, do I? It's inspired by the 200 series type Dr. Yellow diagnostic train with a new toy-inspired head. That's what
Just making a note to email Takara on Monday. Just bear with me a second. This is ridiculous.
Put something in writing.
Dinobots. We don't have any Dinobots.
And that's the combined mode.
There
you go.
Do you know it's actually not that hideous? But I don't like what they've done with the feet. That's the only thing. But it's
aren't the bits on the side plugged in though, that you could remove those bits on either side of the outside of the foot? I'm fairly certain I've seen photos of it without those on. I think that's removable part, should you wish to. That's the back of it if you're going to pose it so it's like looking the wrong way. You weirdos. If you do that, that's fine. That's up to you. And there it is next to the original release. So you can see what it looks like and the differences.
It's squashed together.
Isn't that most combiners?
I wish I didn't have my glasses and I couldn't see this.
Take my eyes. And anyway, that's all of the mainline news. Let's do everybody's favorite section of the show. Oh, sorry.
Of Blokees, just because we should all transform as a show, official picture of Blokees. But she will be using a lot of shorts, which are doing incredibly well just now.
That is true. That should have been in the news as well. Jamie, you must have a fairly up-to-date number. What are we looking at for that short that you released earlier in the week?
Yeah, we got a short, which over 207,000 views right now of unique.
7,000 of those are Jamie watching his own thing. Everything else is other people. I think. That's brilliant. No, but that is amazing. I mean, you know, to have that many views on something.
And apparently, we're big in USA, and I can understand that because the Americans have exceptional taste, and the Philippines, who also have exceptional taste. Yeah, two of my favourite countries, which we never stop talking about.
Big hello to all the US fans out there. Anyway, right? Should we do some third-party news? Do we have our lovely little intro for third party, which is in no way just is in no
Battle Tank!
Battle this.
It's heavy metal cruncher time as Optimus Prime goes toe-to-toe with Combat Megatron. Prime is one tough dude underneath his hood. He's a transformer missile fire phenomenon. Combat Megatron is combat armed. His mighty mega missiles are slamming. He can mad out more for use mega force, but Combat Optimus is still standing.
There we go. Right.
Off.
To be fair, there's times I wish I could do this. Anyway, I joke. Third-party fans. I joke. It's fine. It's just a joke. MPH Studio, Galaxy Toys, Mini 01 Leader King. We've seen photos of this. These have come from Shentu Toy Box. We've seen quite a lot of photos of this, really. I mean, it must be quite popular. I'm very relieved that's a finger. 6 centimeters long is just ridiculous. Absolutely. Anyway, sorry. I thought of that joke ages ago. Should I use it? Yeah, what the hell? And there he is. It's a tiny little Optimus Prime. If you want a tiny little Optimus Prime, it's for those people who really. I mean, I get Legend size because Legend size is, you know, small but incredibly detailed and quite intricate transformations, you know, that seem to be quite fun to do. But when you're getting down to this teeny tiny size, I mean, I suppose they'd look good with dioramas, like with the Ark and stuff, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, would they look really good with the Titan?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Those kind of things. Yeah. If you've got a City Bot,
Remember those
No, it's
tiny
too
little
small.
dudes that came with Masterpiece Skyfire? Like
Yeah.
those
I'm
kind of
guessing-
things. It looks a bit bigger than those, but
Yeah, it does definitely. I think that's is that the world's smallest Transformers Optimus Prime on the left, and I'm assuming because it's a grey model on the right, they're doing a toy style Optimus Prime as well to go with this. But yeah, I just I especially when you find out how much they cost and they're like 25, 30 quid. It's just I just don't get a proper toy. Anyway, that might be a bit harsh.
Grow up.
Like what you like, people. Yeah, grow up. Buy some proper toys. Anyway, Mecha Invasion GLA 03 trailers, which is long haul, which is in there somewhere, and also their toy Crane, which is obviously Hook. And we get a proper look at Hook. That's their alt modes. These are the only photos, or at least the only ones that I was able to find before the show started. They look very Constructicon-y. Not like we haven't got enough Constructicons going on. And there's Hook, rather. With a big old hook cannon on his shoulder. Look at that bad boy.
There's a
just think of
compensating
Vector.
joke there somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the photo angle as well, it just, yeah.
Whoa!
But
Look
I
at
know
the
that
grain.
I've seen lots of people who seem to really like this. So, hopefully it'll do all right. I think they're quite a new company.
What
Could be right.
demographic, Andy? Pray tell.
I mean, I didn't do the research, if I'm being honest with you, Jamie. I'll pass that on to our PR department to have a look into. Dr. Wu, calling Dr. Wu. The E36 ET Menace King, a microscale reformatting Megatron. So we saw the normal Megatron. I think we might have seen
I've got to be
version at some
honest.
point.
Can you old guys with glasses actually see these little things?
Yeah.
I mean, when you got them in your hand.
When it's in a big picture, when it's on a big picture in front of me, it's fine. That's why I won't buy them. Oh my God,
But
that's
it's
the
any
truth.
But it's any point for you old guys having that. I mean, you could have a grape in your hand, you might not notice, and you'll be like, does it transfer? I don't know.
It's my massive man hands. It's not that
Exactly. The hands are too big for this kind of tiny toy. That's the
Do
problem.
shovels. Not
It's like you
designed
have
for
to use
Dr. Wu.
forceps and not when you.
Careful now.
I know. I mean, good. No.
The design is very cool, though. If we ignore the scale, the translucent purple looks wicked, I think.
Yeah.
It just looks too like a sweet. I just think it's a bit risky.
It does look a bit like a sweet. I wouldn't leave it around children just in case somebody tries to scarf it down. Just a safety tip, quick safety tip for those of you
I'm
watching.
not saying I'd eat it. I'm not saying I wouldn't.
You're always eating these wine gums and randoms. It can be dangerous for you. You can be doing that and then go.
Yeah, choking to death. Watch out for it at Minicon. Right, moving on. This is Unique Toys R10 Justice Leader, their Transformers movie Optimus Prime prototype. It is 11.8 inches. Get your tape measure up, Pete. 11.8 inches tall, about 30 centimeters. And these came from Weibo user NPM Collector. I don't know. Do we have enough non-transforming figures, or do we need
that
more?
11
I'm
inches?
assuming this doesn't transform.
It's freaking massive.
11.8 inches.
Don't think I've got the space.
Not with a cat's lair coming, no. And it comes
It's
with
a no
alternate
from me.
faces. I think you can change the chest part as well a little bit, because in some of the photos it looks different. So I'm guessing it's going to come with some options so you can kind of change it around.
Exceptional detail. Exceptional detail. The design.
Yeah, they often are on these.
How many
Fantastic.
primes do you need, man?
Exactly.
What we
No
like on
idea of
82
cost for this.
for this year. You know, what I mean? It's ridiculous.
We've gone straight on. Do apologise. In my eagerness, we've gone straight on to Magic Square
no.
Toys MSO4 Munitioner, which is their version of a masterpiece scale swindle with Munitioner, who's the Legend scale from the same company. And these photos were from 9.2, or this photo is from 928 Toys Laboratory. So you can see the difference in size. And then we had some more photos of this because there's a lot of people excited about this figure. These came via someone on Weibo, and I can't tell you what the name was because it's all written in, I don't know, is it Mandarin? It's Chinese. I can't read it.
Yeah.
All right. Next time I'll send it to JB and he can decipher it for me and let me know. But it looks really good if you want that toon aesthetic version, a masterpiece scale. And I think, are these starting to arrive? Are people starting to get these, or is it just the reviewers that are starting to get these?
I think the reviewers, I've paid for mine, but the reviewers are getting them. I don't think, I'm getting mine from Show Z, and I don't think they're ready to ship just yet. But
You've got to get the
hate
hype
it.
up, haven't you? Is it not for
Any-
you, Billy? Is there
It's
anything
not for
specific?
me. Yeah, just the product, generally, all of it.
The entire thing.
I don't want to be overly
Wow.
specific, just the fucking lot.
I mean, it's got wheels. I like those. But,
It does have
I
wheels,
like
that's
them in my
nice.
vehicles as
That's
well.
not for
You know,
me.
because when I buy a car, it needs wheels. That's what I say.
it does.
When you buy a car for an alien to drive you around, it must have, I demand wheels, not skis. We've not reached that stage.
I'm a
yet.
benevolent master.
It's a good job she's in Chicago. Right. There is one more picture of this, because that's him as a leg, and then next to him is the Legend scale version of the combiner. So you get an idea of the size this thing's going to be.
And talking about reviews, we've got to be saying Pete's been knocking out the park recently with lots of good reviews.
This is true.
Mostly your Blokees.
Well done, Jamie. We haven't mentioned Blokees for 5 minutes.
I found
Like
my
we're
remit.
sponsored by them, but we're not. But it's like we are.
I think
Anyway.
I am going to display Swindle and Brawl in leg mode. Just as
At all times.
just as a willing the Magic Square gods to release the rest quicker.
Just don't even buy the rest. Just have them as legs, just literally legs. Right. Anyway, then we've got this, which is the Ocular Max MMC PS14E Chops, which is RID Rotor from RID 2001. Part of Ruination, as it was back then. So it was Ruination. Yeah, it was Ruination, wasn't it? This is at TFCon Baltimore, which I believe is this weekend, and it's an exclusive for ages 3 and up. Toy Dojo and Madhouse Toys, as you can see at the bottom of the picture. And this is a repaint of Ocular Max's Vortex that they have done. I don't remember seeing that, though. I mean, that is out, isn't it? I just don't remember seeing the MMC Vortex. Or are we getting this before Vortex? Somebody in the chat will be able to tell us. But it's probably been out for ages and I've just forgotten about it. But here it is in these RID 2001 colors, should you wish to get it, and also be at TFCon in Baltimore this weekend, as I'm sure many of you are. It'll take, this is going to turn up on like Kapow or wherever. They always get these in. And there's the chopper mode, because he is called Chops. And because we all get
old mode.
Just to interrupt, Dave Nipple says he can't wait for Pete's Cat Lair review. I think it'll be a eulogy personally, but yeah.
It's going to be fun.
This is where I'm going to sleep. And this is where I'm going to do my washing.
It's when you walk inside it.
It's actually been, I don't know if saying it's been delayed. We're getting off topic very quickly. I don't think it's coming till December, January now, so we might have to put a pin in that, but it is en route.
Imagine if it was there just in time for Christmas.
Oh, you boy.
I thought you were falling off your chair for a second.
No, bloody Swoop took a nosedive.
I'm really gutted you didn't. That would have been hilarious live on camera. You couldn't buy that. That would top my light going out on last weekend. And then we have, let's crack on. This is, I believe, Galaxy Toys Gentleman. So this is the same company that did the tiny little Optimus Prime. They're doing a micro scale Jazz. And this is the little grayscale prototype. And it is small. Very small. If it scales with Optimus Prime, it'd have to be even smaller than that tiny one we saw previously. This would be,
I reckon 4.
small. It's madness. Absolute madness, I tell you.
Yeah, it looks about 4.
So there you go. Galaxy Toys are going to be doing a little Jazz. So if this is your bag, you're going to be able to get that. X-Transbots have shown off their packaging, at least the front of the packaging, for Janssen Youth version A and B. So it's a Perceptor in a toy deco, which you can see there. So he's got the toy head and the toy face, which I actually prefer personally. And then the Magnificus version as well. which I do like it in black. I think it looks freaking awesome in those colors. Would it make me want to buy X-Transbots? Probably not. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. So they have been revealed. And then we had another TFCon Baltimore reveal. So Ocular Max and Toy Dojo plus ages 3 and up have this exclusive RMX-19 Ultio Senator. It'll be $70. And
did you say 3 and up, like 3 years old?
No, the company. It's a company in America. 3 and up. They sell toys. Yeah.
All right.
Not for ages 3 and up.
I was going, what?
Oh my god! Imagine if we gave this to a 4-year-old. Oh, the lawsuits. But anyway, this is Ratbat. So it's a Ratbat in based on the tape modes that they did for whoever they did them for. So yeah, here you go. Again, expect these while they're a con exclusive to be up for sale probably before the weekend's even over.
I don't like it.
You're right. Let's not look at it anymore. No. It comes with a cape.
Delete.
So
It doesn't make it better.
There's a cape. That's not a great cape. It looks like somebody really just very roughly cut out a piece of felt and just tried to stick it around it. And there's the box if you like to look at the box. And there it is. And that is all of the news. And we're done.
That's a personal best, 51 minutes.
No, what the hell? I've only got to 51 minutes. Even I'm shocked.
I do
Should we get back on
the profanity there, Billy. It's Andy. We can't control him. He's like a monster.
Yeah. Whatever you say, love honey. Right, moving on.
Shall we get back on track and show the internet our pickups for this week?
We now return to the Transformers.
Who would like to go first?
Not Billy.
A simple no would have sufficed, Billy.
I'll go first if it'll help. Don't run away, Billy. Come back. Come back to us. I'm just going to share. I'm just going to quickly share. I'm not going to share any photos. I'm just going to share the things I've got. So while out and about earlier in the week at a little toy shop called Superpower Toys and Collectibles, which is based in Bishop Auckland, and is a great little shop to go visit. They specialize in wrestling toys, but they've now started expanding out into other things, including Transformers and some secondhand Transformers. Just because I don't have it, and I have the G1 original, I got a little. Is it Combiner Wars Cindersaw? Is it Combiner Wars or whichever one it is? Anyway, it's a cute little thing. I'm sure in this universe it's supposed to be. Yeah, but you know what? The moment I saw it, that's exactly the first thought I had was of your customs of the 3 of them, and I thought, do you know what? I don't have this. I'm gonna buy it because I've got the G1 one as well. It was just nice, and for a $5, it was nice. And then what else did? Oh yeah, so from not Jamie Liddell, but from Lidl, I've got myself one of the apparently hard to find, but not that hard to find because they're turning up in Lidl, the Hot Wheels Optimus Primes. And because I am a benevolent ruler, friend, I also picked up a few spares for friends, for which I was accused of scalping scandalously. You know who you are, Toys R Us. But they are for friends. So I am just going to be passing them on to people who are friends of ours who can't find them. And I know these are really hard to find, but apparently they are turning up in a lot of little stores. Not all, but a lot of them. And these are a $5. So, these people who are spending like 15, 20 quid, don't be doing that. Don't buy off Rohan. No, I'm joking, Rohan. Yours will be very reasonably priced, I'm sure. Love you, Rohan, if you're watching. And then reasonably harsh.
Yeah.
I didn't say it wasn't fair.
Like many people, I also received my Flame and Zaron 2-pack from Hasbro Pulse, which really did arrive here quickly because I only got the notice of it going out like last night, and then it arrived this afternoon, and I haven't opened them up yet. I know we may have some lovely photos to come. I haven't opened. I've opened it like that, but I haven't taken them out yet. That's going to be a weekend job.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, just the paint job, everything. Lovely, just look, and it's two characters I never thought we'd get toys of, so well worth the money. And if you missed out, I think somebody said In Demand might have some left. Don't quote me on that, but hopefully people will be able to get hold of them. And that's me.
Wow, great pickups. Billy, have you got any pickups this week or any of the other weeks between now and when you were last on?
Because you can lie. Don't worry about it. You can
Do you know what? If I say no now, how terrible a Transformers fan will that make me? This week, definitely not. Since I was last on, basically every Blockee going.
Yes.
And I got, what's it called? The Missing Link Sentinel Prime, which
nice.
do you know, it's not the type of thing I would normally get, but as I'm getting older, what I've realized is if you release, as if you would do this, if Hasbro or Takara release a G1 mold in basically any color scheme, I'm going to get it, because I really regret not picking up the e-hobby stuff back in or most of it. I got the odd piece. So, yeah, I'm going down that route. But that's it. Nothing for a few weeks now, to be honest.
Can I just ask very quickly, Billy, what is your favorite of the Blockies that you've got so far? Do you have like one that just stands out for you a little bit, or are they all equally loved?
I have a least favorite if you want me to
go on
down that route. That's easy. I have Megatron. I don't know why. And it's a shame because it's Megatron. Like I would always want the leader characters to be like proper, really good. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just mine because it's a bit loose or the design generally. I'm not loving Megatron, but Tarn's really good. I didn't think I would like Tarn, but what they did to achieve the bigger shoulder modes on him and stuff, really, really cool. Just generally really liking them, to be honest.
Awesome.
Wicked. I'll go next. We'll save the best till last. I got the feedback like everybody else, which was miraculous, really. I got this because my debit card got cloned earlier on in the week, and they went to make payment, and they couldn't. So I was like, can't be Damien, everyone else. So we got.
To be fair, Pete, I gave you the money back. Let's not harp on about that now.
So I got the 2-pack Flame and Zaron. I picked up Studio Series TF1 Megatron, who has got legs that go all the way to his ears, I think. I'm going to look forward to having a play.
I'm messing up.
All right.
It's not me messing it up this week.
Just ask me to stop.
He's
You don't need to kick me.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
I picked up Planet X Calcus. It is their Fall of Cybertron version of Swoop. I did a review on Quinnerus. I might do a review on this one. My initial findings are he has big time trouble standing up, and I don't know why. However, Callus and I will be having a discussion after the show. And last but not least was Classic Class Elita 1 Blockee. Beautiful, lovely design. The color really pops. If you want to know a bit more,
lovely to see a review.
Well, Andy, it's funny you should say that. I took the time earlier this week to perhaps video my initial thoughts on her that you can catch on our channel.
That's like a dream come true.
If you wish. I mean, if you don't,
I'm really tempted by that. As much as I haven't gone down the bigger route with Blockies yet, like that looks really, really cool.
Well, the classic line is what I collect, which is more intricate, for higher evolved Transformer collector.
Every time. Gets me every
Found
time.
the right button to come on and say that bit, didn't he? And that was me. That was me this week. Jamie. Last but not
right.
least,
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a little bit big just for this. So I got Agent Knight. I haven't opened up to give a full inspection yet, but the box is majestic. The car looks good. I've actually got the batteries, which you had to buy separately, I believe. So I've actually prepared. Everything's ready to go. So yeah, Michael Knight, kit. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be quite cool. I picked up, some concept designs from like Transformers Bumblebee. Also quite good there, little frenzy, little Bumble. I also got Blokees, which I will be putting together as well. So looking forward to that. Obviously, as I said, this is the classic addiction.
Classic addiction.
I'm addicted.
Truth is revealed.
For a higher age group, people with more cognition. But yes, looking good for there. And obviously, the thing I've got, this is going to be quite hard to do, so I'm going to see if I can do this. And I'm not doing too well because I've got the damn boxes in the wrong order. Oh, mother. This, maybe I'll get this sorted. Maybe.
the boxes are going to go in the air.
Oh,
Hey, there we go.
there's the full scene.
Yes, almost there. Just slightly off balance, but yeah. So
Nice.
pretty
Amazing.
happy to have these guys at last, all complete, and the artwork is absolutely sublime. Now, just getting out of this. Yes, so the artwork is absolutely sublime, and obviously, there they are there. And yeah, it's just cool to actually have it in hand. Now, the thing about these figures is when you get them out the sort of box, they're quite tight. I find Flame quite stiff, and it's so I think you'll need to be warmed up a bit. I don't know how you do that. You could use a heater to warm it up a bit. Just probably by general play, Transformers, etc. By transforming. But to be honest, I think the robot modes are just majestic, and it's what everyone remembers. And like Andy said, you just never dreamt you would get these characters, especially Flame. I never guessed we would get Flame. Even when people were saying it's Flame, Jamie, I was going, no, it's Rodimus. I just no idea that it would possibly be Flame. The robot modes are good, and that's actually good news because the alt modes are absolutely pish, but you can't have everything. And to be honest, you're probably just going to have it in robot mode. You're not really going to be transforming that, which is probably quite good as well, because I've seen some bad stuff about Flame when it comes to transformation. I think because it is quite stiff, some people maybe were breaking stuff by forcing it too much as well. So make sure you watch some videos on how to transform it and take your time. But there they are, all the boxes together, which was much easier than me trying to do it live on air. But yes, exceptional artwork, exceptional line, the creativity, the engineers, whoever at Hasbro, the whole team working to give this. Thank you so much, because that's amazing. And I'm really quite ecstatic and happy about that. Now, I'm going to show, because it's Halloween, and it's the time of scary monsters, or seeing your other half without the makeup. Notice the gender neutral language there. I thought
We shall remember, Jamie.
She's in Chicago. She's my.
She's still watching.
She can't get me till Tuesday. They'll probably starve to death by then because it's hot tough. But so there's like a brutal picture of Optimus Prime about to kill Scourge, but some of my favorite monster bots. And this was I hadn't taken this photo. I was looking forward to doing this. It's taken me some time to do there. And Billy, can you actually name them, the characters there?
I can give them names if that's what you're asking.
Go for it.
I can name a few of them. Right, so we've got Repugnus, we've got Squeeze Play. Is Carnivac one of those there?
No,
I'm on a
no,
really
but
small screen. Who's the pink one?
Fangry.
I've never owned a original Fangry, so cool. And then who's
And
the other ugly-looking fellow? I know.
we've got Double
Oh,
Cross
gosh.
there, and
I
as you
had
said,
I had a version of
Magnus-
Double Cross. Who's this chap or
grotesque
lady?
guy in the middle.
Ah, right. That's unfortunate because he's the least grotesque looking of all of them. He's quite cuddly.
He's exceptionally very good. That's what I was thinking. You know, if I had to
Yeah.
choose which one of them, I would go for grotesque. Yeah, he does look quite cool. But the thing that's amazing, they're all the same mold, aren't they? With heavy retailing, so it's just amazing. Yeah, and you know, well done again, Hasbro. Fair play to you. Some awesome bots. There's a sexy slide on view shot of this. Artistic.
Hey.
Doing a
Zooming
little
in.
bit playful.
I like it.
Not the camera
Worlds
falling
for
over
me.
at all.
Camera, I wouldn't do that with a camera. I just got the picture, just slanted it to. I'd probably knock a muscle out, try to go make it. I don't know. I don't know. So just go through some of my favourite monster pitch. And you know, I just realised I've never taken any photos of my Terracons. That is actual real water there. And it's got blackcurrant in it to make so it was more viscous, you know. So it'd have more of a reflection in the sign. I used the power of science. Unfortunately, I spilled it all over the place and it just went out everywhere.
I was going to say you had a lot of fun doing that, didn't you, James?
Yeah. Oh, I know. It was my first time doing it as well. And I was thinking, I really shouldn't have used blackcurrant. you know. And the damn figure kept dropping into the freaking water all the time. you know. There's the Sharkticons, always the scary thing. You know, I think if there's anything that could be more ferocious in the Transformer universe, it's these guys in the way. And I think they should show them devouring more because we don't get to see that enough after Transformers in movie, which was just horrific scene after horrific scene. There's Fangry again. I think that was one of the first times I was really getting used to using sort of backgrounds and trying that for the first time. So he's all through the sort of my old phone camera. And there's Weird Wolf, not that Mind Wipe, Sludge. I always thought that scene was quite scary in the comics, you know, when they came across Galvatron and Cyclonus. I always wanted that with the sort of rain effect and the lightning. It's got a moon. Maybe not that scary.
I was going to say that last one was a bit of a stretch.
Flexibility. I draw you back to Exhibit A. Right, I draw you.
Dinobots.
Evidence is
Optimus
piling
Prime. The original Horrorcons.
Hey,
you know, the
actual
homage to
horror.
King Kong and Godzilla.
And the great CJ face. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. There's some more. That is, I think, quite a scary. Good one.
That's a great photo.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do love that
I like
character,
that.
and the Predacons. Yeah. There's your Carnivac and Catilla. Vintage there.
Need a new Carnivac.
The stuff
really do.
of nightmares for every little kid. Dead Brawn and Dead Ratchet. You know, who survived the shuttle after Hot Rod has shot the fucking shuttle down because they probably were still surviving on like Ironhide was until he got blasted the Megatron. Yeah. And they've just got out that shuttle. You know, and everyone's pissed off and left them to Galvatron in the sweeps. You know.
Oh dear.
That's cool.
And Swoop, absolutely gorgeous Dinobot. Again, that was one of my first ones when I was trying using a sort of moss grass, which was the worst substance I've ever worked with my entire life. Little bits of sharp. It was an absolute nightmare. So I went for a nice, simple, good grass to use in future. But it does look really good in photos, but just not worth the cleanup. But yes, that was my sort of Halloween sort of horror pictures, and I will be doing that. Sort of put them in a video, and I'll be shoving that on Instagram and posting that on sort of Twitter.
Oh, wicked. Excellent, mate. They
Very
are
cool.
fantastic photos. Shall we do some foreplay? Feel like we should.
Yes. Yes, we should.
Unless you got somewhere to be, Jamie. I mean,
So it was a question. So Neely asked a question, and he said, "Is the Agent Night box the same size as the Nectar one?" And to be honest, I'm not actually really sure. They're both big vehicles, so I would say they must be about the same ballpark. You know, so I'm not really sure, Neely, and I don't want to tell a lie or pretend I actually know the answer. I'm just being honest with you.
Lynn, these are sex people.
What do you mean?
They're sex swappers. Lynn, this is DEFCON 1. Look. Look. Don't make the same noise as them. They'll think you want to join in.
So this week's foreplay in celebration of Halloween yesterday is our favourite monstrous character from Transformers. It doesn't have to be a monster bot. It can be
Anything monstrous. Anything that's monster-like.
any character that terrified us through the various guises.
Anything under the moon, I think, is the new criteria.
Yeah, anything that happens to be stood outside in moonlight. Wheelie.
Nighttime Bumblebee. Yeah.
No!
Who would like to go first? Andy Ride.
I'd love to go first, Peter. Just give me 1 second while I fill for a second because I forgot to get that ready. There we go. So I'm going to go for the boy, Fangry, who Billy has never... Did you say you've never owned a Fangry? Oh, my
Never
word.
owned a Fangry.
Right. So I had the G1 toy, loved it, loved the colors, loved the design of it. It was one of those ones there, the artwork and the comic book sold it to me, and then you get the toy. Anyway, so here's the artwork, or rather the comic book. And I love that picture. I always love that picture. It's like a half werewolf, half bat, half God knows what thing. And I love the fact that he was just mentally angry all the time. You know, literally the name Fangry, for Christ's sake. He was just bonkers. And he was daft enough to try and take on people like Grimlock. I mean, here he's just throwing Bumblebee. But, you know, that's something. It's better than nothing. He didn't get a hell of a lot of time. Obviously, he wasn't featured in the Western cartoon, although he was in the Japanese cartoon, but he wasn't the same person there, obviously, because of the way they did it with Transdectors. But, yeah, I just always loved it as a kid. And you know what I'm like for nostalgia and kids. Plus, I always loved this. So he had his compressed air cannon that was in his tail. So he literally farted Grimlock into submission there. And he was daft enough. Fangry was daft enough and angry enough in the comic books to actually take on Grimlock, a nucleon-fueled Grimlock as it was. I mean, I just always loved the fact he was just so randomly bonkers and just good fun. And then, as I said, he was in the G2 comics as well. You know, he was there. There's his robot mode, at least. And then the G1 toy. I just loved it. I don't know why, because it's got the articulation of almost less than a brick. He can't stand up straight because the legs don't actually straighten up properly because of a little bit of plastic on the back of behind his legs. So you literally can't straighten his legs up properly without him always leaning forward. But I don't care. I don't care. I loved it. I loved it as a kid. I still love it now. That's mine. I mean, all right, that doesn't necessarily look like the comic book panda we saw, but it's close enough. It's a dog person thing with wings, and that's enough. I'll take that. And if it's going to be Halloween, you need something. I mean, it looks more like Wile E. Coyote there, but still, you need something that's actually like just looks like it could have come out of Halloween. And I absolutely adore Fangry. Is he the most famous monstrous bot in Transformers? No, but nostalgia does it for me. I love the little guy, and yeah, my choice is the king of Halloween monster bots, Fangry. I mean, he may not be the king, but still, he's there. So that's my choice.
The bar has been set pretty high on that. He could win the election next week. Jamie, would you like to go next?
Yes, my choice is Weird Wolf. And you know, one day I'm going to have to pick up a G1 vintage Weird Wolf because I think that was a toy I originally fell in love with. And I loved the version of Weird Wolf which we got to see in the books. You know, the books where the adventure books where you go turn to page 78 for this choice or 85 for this choice. And I loved the artwork we saw for Weird Wolf because it was based very much on the toy. And although the light piping on Weird Wolf, I've got to say, is one of the best I've ever seen in this sort of toy. So absolutely love Weird Wolf. Excellent figure. And the character in the Rebirth, amazing. When I saw the Rebirth, just a sort of myriad of new characters. You know, it was explosions. So I just absolutely loved it. You know, and Rebirth to me still stands as one of the best Transformer animated movies. I know part 1, part 2, and part 3, but we got them as VHS. So to us, it was like a movie, a TV movie put together. And it was ecstatic. And I just loved everything about the character. And that was in the cartoon and the books. But in the comic, the actual comic, which I absolutely adore, Marvel UK Transformers comic, I never really liked the Weird Wolf character too much there. I don't think he was given enough time. And I think the artwork he was always drawn was a bit very more organic. Where I would have liked to have seen him a bit more blocky like he was in the toy and a little bit more like the robot monster he kind of was. Where I think the sort of organic look worked really well for like Skull Cruncher and Mindwipe. I never really thought it suited the Weird Wolf character because it made them look more like a coyote or like a ravenous dog rather than a freaking wolf, because wolves are big animals. And I think they missed a trick there with making the Weird Wolf look like more like a household dog rather than a wolf what he should have been. So that's my critique there. But yes, Weird Wolf to me is my monstrous spot, and I think it's a mixture of Rebirth, mixture of the books I used to read as a kid, and the fact of, you know, getting it as a toy from Christmas, which I absolutely loved.
Weird Wolf will always be one of my favourite Transformers of all time, I think, because it's the one I think it's the first 87 bot that I got. And I genuinely, yeah, it's such a fantastic character. And it's funny, isn't it? Because you had Weird Wolf, and then fast forward like 18 months, you had Carnivac, and they did such a good wolf kind of design, and they'd wasted Weird Wolf to an extent. Great choice.
Cool. Dangerous, but cool.
Amazing. Billy, would you like to go next?
I've got no imagery with me, but I can go next. I'm gonna cheat and do 2 because my boy already came up this evening, and that was Squeeze Play. Done dirty by the new toy, I have to say. I'm not a fan of that. I do like that they were able to repurpose that toy several times to get us characters who may not have gotten toys otherwise, so that's cool. But not too much of a fan of that toy. But yeah, Squeeze Play, I love it because I remember exactly where I was when I got it when I was a kid. So it has that kind of nostalgic thing about it to me. Nothing to do with the character. Couldn't tell you anything about the character. It's purely, I remember buying that thing. And to this day, I look on the wiki, it tells me it's a monster crab. I still don't think it looks like a crab. I don't know what it is, but there's just something really cool about it. And the colors really pop on it as well, which I appreciate that even more as I get older. And people like Jamie are doing the photography these days and up in the bar all the time. It just looks really, really cool. My second cheating answer is also in reference to Jamie and my newfound knowledge that a monster bot doesn't actually have to be monstrous in the slightest. So I'm gonna go with G1 Skylinks, because if you think about it, that's a pretty monstrous thing. It's like 2 beasts with the same personality who can split themselves in 2 and keep talking at you from 2 different angles. But I really loved Skylinks in the cartoon. Love that character. I remember actually 2 things about it were weird, and one's a bit morbid. So hey, Skylinks was the first toy I ever bought at a convention from T4A. Thanks, John. And also a really weird thing. I was at the couple of years later, I was running a charity auction for a convention, and I had a big old list of actors, and I was, writing to them one at a time because you had to do it all by hand those days and send envelopes with stamps and etc. And I got to Skylynx's actor, Aaron Kincaid, from memory, and he was literally the next on my list. And then he died, and the news was online and stuff. And so I always remember that because it's that's kind of reminds me we don't have forever with a lot of these people. So let's meet them while we can. So that's a pretty monstrous recollection. I think that counts.
Wow.
I agree with you about Squeezeplay. Definitely agree with you about Squeezeplay. I think the new toy, I love the robot mode. I find it harder to love the crab mode. Crab, monster, snake, python head than mode, whatever the hell he is. But,
well, that's it. It's more of a snaky kind of thing, isn't it? So I just really love the G1 toy for that. And I'm not often one where I'll say, oh no, it has to be the original. I'm very keen to see updated versions of toys, but it was very much compromised in that new version by the looks of it.
I still haven't transformed one, to be fair.
Is that the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
You're not missing a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Get a G1 one and display that one in old mode.
So is he displayed in robot mode or in unacceptable mode?
No. It's one of, and it's probably a confession that I shouldn't be making live, but it's fallen into one of those categories where I got it and I put it on the shelf and then I've just put other stuff in front of it and now I've forgotten I've got it. I'm gonna have to play with it now. I'm gonna have to.
So what you're saying is you've got too much stuff, Pete. If Emma's watching, you can clear some stuff out.
I just buy it and stick it on the shelf. I don't even look at it again.
All that money. For what?
Do you even have a cat's lair? Do you?
You won't even touch it. Imagine the dust on that thing. Anyway.
Bloody toys. Right. My choice, I think, is the personification of Halloween and Transformers all in one. It is the closest we got to a Count Dracula in Transformers Mind Wipe.
Apart from Dracula.
Apart from...
Oh, was he based on one of Cybertron's moons? Obviously, first time I saw him was on the Rebirth in '87, and what did he do the first time? He
hypnotized. Didn't he hypnotize Lightspeed? Lightspeed. Yeah.
Back away.
Yeah. You're powerless to resist.
I don't know. It's just really cool because Weird Wolf and Skullcruncher, and even Eight Face and Snapdragon, you thought, they're just animal Transformers, but this guy had, special powers. He had a hypnotic gaze, and he could exercise some mind control, and I don't know. It's just exactly like the voice that he had as well. It was very Count Dracula-esque, back away. So it was, for me, it was just the logical choice. And he's famous for his comedy moments. I mean, do you remember that time in the comics where him and Starscream and Shockwave tried throwing over Scorponok to take over the Decepticons? So he was a comedian as well. He's a comedian as well as being scary. So, for me, I never had the cue the sad music and the violins. I never had the original Mind Wipe at the time when I was growing up. I had a choice between Weird Wolf and Mind Wipe. Weird Wolf was the colour yellow. Yellow was my favourite colour. Weird Wolf came home. However, picking him up years later, he's such a cool boy as well. G1 Mind Wipe. They're just all of them are. It's like 87 bots are my kryptonite. I'll just the blocky, no flexibility, easy transformation. It's just for me. But
we are the progenitors, aren't we, Pete? We're the progenitors, the original Transformer fans.
Yes.
You're old enough.
We were there at the beginning. But this is the Hasbro version. This is not the Takara version. I'm a man of the people. The Hasbro version is
Not
the
an elitist.
Hasbro.
I'd like to see that.
The Hasbro version is more accessible, and we are one together.
When the revolution comes, you will survive.
I just love the head. That head is a monster bot. It is demonic. It is scary. It is. Oh look! Even looking at it just gives me the EVGBs.
Don't you think
For
it's weird
me-
though that he was, like you said, he was almost the closest thing we had to something that resembled Dracula, but then he wasn't the one that then acted like Dracula in the comics, because it was Bombburst, wasn't it? That in one big battle between Decepticons and other Decepticons, it was Bombburst that was the one that was sucking the energon out of his. I think it was Soundwave he got a hold of, and he was sucking
Was
the
it
energon out of
Ratbat
him.
did that as well, didn't he?
I think Ratbat did that at some point as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Vampire Bat would make sense, but you know, Mindwipe didn't lower himself to that. I feel like he'd be a Takara.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take over Decepticons. Or die trying. What a monstrous foreplay. Bloody good fun, that one, wouldn't it? Shall we have some... Shall we finish with our discussion about...
No,
all
because you
things-
Oh, is this socials?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's, see? That...
2 or 3 decades, it could be enough. We could always edit it out.
We're about to find out.
Right, hang on. I'm nearly there.
If it is, we'll blame Pete.
Brilliant.
In case it wasn't obvious, Billy,
Oh,
we
no, I
discovered
thought-
that the music used on that little socials intro actually got us copyright striked. We'd like been taken off air for about 5 minutes. So we were like, oh no, we can't use that anymore. Happy days.
I tried skipping past socials. was late. Can you share my screen, please, Jamie? So I've tried to pick some Halloween-esque socials this week, and the first from Plastic Crack, because he had a week off last week. I don't think we showed any of his excellent photos. Not because he didn't do any, because we didn't show any. Plastic Crack, the headless horseman of Cybertron. Oh, we're joined by Mr. Dave Wallace. Good evening, sir.
It's about bloody time.
It is. We're going to have words later.
Your gaffer's not happy.
He never is.
If you get your pickups, your full play, and any news ready, we'll blitz through it after socials. So Plastic Crack, the headless horseman of Cybertron, the My Little Pony crossover with Optimus and Missing Link Optimus Prime. Jim Stafford with his last Inktober bot, which I believe is Overlord.
Yeah,
As it
31
says
days
it.
of these.
I know.
Never got round to doing double dealer though, did he? Unbelievable. Disgraceful.
He only had 31 days, and he had to pick the good ones. Exceptionally talented. 31 days. However, his wording did suggest that maybe after 31 days, he got fed up with it in the end. But definitely exceptionally talented individual. Now, is that Harachi Fortress? Harachi Fortress.
And that's all we know. The rest of it is written in a language I cannot read. But that was a great photo.
But sometimes we don't need words, do we? Sometimes we can just marvel at the photo.
Language of Transformers is universal, Peter.
As long as it's in English.
Mostly if it's in English.
And I can read it.
They want us to understand it, unfortunately.
I don't think I really need to add any words to this photo, do I? Look at it.
No, go on.
It's the blood. Now, Spooky Manta, we've showed their stuff a couple of times, and I just wanted to. There's the post, but look the new Studio Series 80, Studio Series TF1 Megatron. I think the depth, the color in the background, yeah, just beautiful picture.
Was it a before and after? Because he customized it. So I think the one on the right is after he's
got
added
a new
bit of
cannon.
paint or something, and he's
he's
got the new
changed
cannon.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is as well. The cannon's changed as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, great work. That's the original toy as it was. So it just shows if you want to upgrade it a bit, it's possible if you've got the skills, like certain people obviously have. Not me, obviously.
Yeah, great. I don't know why you're looking at me. I am
Gav
not.
Burgess, you're getting a call.
Friend of the show, Paul Duggan.
There's always one.
Proving that a missed transformation can be quite popular.
It's about 3,500 likes now.
Yeah.
But it's a terrible. It's not. I mean, it's dear God, that's a use your imagination. It looks a bit
It's
like
like the man from Uncle.
To be fair, it's not bad as use your imagination as compared to the sort of third base modes that sometimes we get from Transformers.
Oh, but they're always bad. That's the problem. I'd rather they didn't bother.
Pseudomain, quite possibly
That's
the most
cool.
terrifying thing I've seen this Halloween. I think it's still.
I don't know. We had RC in Moonlight. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, without a makeup.
A throwback to the G1 comics.
Oh dear.
Skullgrin. See, I was going to pick Skullgrin as my choice.
You could have had loads of the Decepticon Pretenders. They almost all had that look.
Yeah. Kasigi, again, and just an exceptionally talented photographer. Because we haven't shown Scrapper enough love this week. He is quite possibly the cutest of the Blokees.
He's got attitude there.
Yeah. Just his side.
My favourite.
Don't give a frig about anything. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Social Corner.
That can't be the socials. You missed freaking John Strong's photo.
No, I haven't missed it.
In fact, I think you find if we were to continue talking for at least the next 30 seconds, by the time we came to the end of it,
This
we
is
realised
he's at Jeff's door. He can see the light in the tunnel. Maybe half an hour.
This is what we need. This is why you need someone like Dave on, who I'm sure is a master of filling time when necessary, just to make sure that nobody realizes.
I mean, at this point, is it not time for me to say, wait for it?
If we could just continue waiting for a second, that would be amazing.
Just keep waiting.
I always feel like I'd be quicker to download the photo.
Oh, shut up.
You're on my time now, lads. You're on my time.
Dave, if you had to choose your favorite Halloween monster bot type thing, or monstrous bot, what would you have picked just out of interest?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. Are we talking like actual character that is horrifying?
We're talking any character which can stand underneath the moon.
Or under the moon.
At all. Yep.
Anything terrifying like that.
There's not many Transformers that can't stand under the moon, is there?
Interesting that you say that.
Yeah. So I would probably say, if we're talking about terrifying, I always thought that IDW's rendition of Bludgeon with his missing jaw was kind of freakishly terrifying. Mm-hmm. In a weird way. Also, just Scourge in general is terrifying. There's something weird about a man with a goatee and red fingernails that just freaks me out a little bit.
It always reminds me when I think of Scourge is that he's a Charles Dickens character had sex with a microwave. or a toaster.
Yeah.
And he's like amalgamation of that.
And that's the first place. First place we went to.
I mean, I said this last week when I was on Arrofire's show, so like he got the exclusive. But there was a reason that I pitched IDW with a Scourge Spotlight, which was a horror comic. Because I don't know, there's just something about Scourge that like freaks me out just a little bit. But there's Typhonus.
Gives off Jack the Ripper vibes.
Yeah.
Is this the photo? Have we got it now?
Yeah, so there was a breakdown in the network. I had downloaded it, obviously, because only an amateur would forget to download that one photo.
Well, thank God you weren't pulled up on it publicly.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. John Strong with his Legacy Kingdom Cyclonus. It just shows you.
It's exceptional,
what you can
isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's such a. I always like his style because it always just reminds me of the cinematic sort of Transformer pictures. But I would love to be able to do that kind of style. And he's always. Have you ever seen John Strong like in Facebook or in internet, Instagram, etc.? He's full of good humor, and he's always full of nice, positive comments to other people as well with their pictures and stuff like that. He gives so much to the community. He's an exceptional individual as well, and a wonderfully talented photo.
So he
artist.
wouldn't have called me out publicly for getting to. I mean, for having a network issue.
I'm just jealous that his Cyclonus is still the right color.
There's your Scourge for you.
There you go. This is some night terrors for you.
Yeah.
This time under lightning, though.
Yeah.
Right. Now I've forgotten to do socials and done socials, and I've forgotten to download one photo, and I've downloaded that one. Shall we have the bloody discussion?
I mean, this was why I came.
We now return to the Transformers.
Thank you, Billy and Dave, for joining us this evening. To legendary members of a legendary TFN team. Thanks for taking the time out to join us. Obviously,
That's cool. Thanks for having us.
Plans and preparations are probably in heavy flow, ready for Minicon in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Should we start the discussion by just you giving us what TFN is?
Yeah, I can start with that. So I am, and David was before I fired him this evening, organisers of TFNation, which is Europe's largest Transformers convention. It's held annually in Birmingham in England. And over the last year or two, we've spun it off into two smaller events as well, which we are calling TFN Minicons. And we have one coming up, as you've just shown us, in Reading. So that's what we are. I can go into as much detail as you like about that. It's always strange when I have to explain what TFN is, because I do a lot of the conversations with like insurance companies and people who don't know what a transformer is. So like my explanation is probably really different to what a fan would want to hear. Dave can probably, from his memories of his time on the crew, can probably give you a better fan's perspective of that.
Well, I mean, now that I'm no longer employed by TFNation, I'm going to air all of the dirty laundry.
Do it.
TFNation is nothing but a vanity project for Billy.
I always thought it. Unless someone said it.
You heard it here first. There's an exclusive.
What is TFN from a fan's perspective? TFN is a dedicated convention, and I use the word dedicated specifically because there are, when you think about conventions, you don't often think about dedicated conventions. You think about things like Comic Cons and Toy Fairs, things where it is a swath of multimedia. I mean, even San Diego Comic-Con. When was the last time you tuned into San Diego Comic-Con to listen about comic book news? You don't, because you listen to what's happening in Hall H. TFNation is dedicated to Transformers, and the reason for that is because every single person that works on it and every single person that is involved in its running loves Transformers with a passion unlike many that I have ever seen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they collect all of the toys or that they watch all of the shows or they read all of the comics, but just fundamentally this brand, for whatever reason, has stuck with them, and they want to make sure that other Transformers fans, of which the UK is kind of unique because of its lineage and history with the brand. You know, it's a special connection that we have here in the UK, and we just want to be able to present a platform for Transformers fans to come along, meet other people, spend an awful lot of money on toys that they don't need but want, and have a bloody good time. And if in that process we can bring guests along, if we can host panels, if we can dig up some crazy lost piece of media, which we seem to be able to do on a semi-regular basis, tune into Reading. You know, all I'm saying is that that's what it is. It is a celebration of something that we all love. And also Blokees.
Glad we finally mentioned Blokees tonight.
Yeah, we've not mentioned them before. We've never heard of them.
Oh, I thought I was being unique.
I don't even know what Blokees are. I just have no concept.
First time.
Early, not in the last 6 weeks.
I sure hope there's a more complicated version for a collector like myself.
That was very well put, Dave. That was very very eloquently put, I think.
But I do agree there when he's talking about TFNation and the heritage that the UK has, especially with the localization, which is quite unique in the UK. If we read the comics, we even changed the way characters spoke. You know, the Dinobots weren't so thick in the UK version, where the American comic was starting to copy the cartoon. And I think obviously the records is perhaps in the Mayhem Attack Squad, some of the famous characters that came out of there, because, you know, we were getting the comics every 2 weeks, you know, and it's just amazing, you know, that heritage that we have.
There's no question about it. I mean, you know, Simon Furman, it's arguable to say that Simon Furman has contributed more to Transformers than any human being alive. You know, and then you've got the legacy following him. You know, James Roberts, Nick Roach. Like, these are people who have contributed year on year. And, you know, it's like, I always think back to like the early 1990s when, you know, Transformers was dead. It was a dead franchise. And yet here in the UK, we were still getting brand new toys. You know, we got Overlord in the UK. I can't remember what he was actually packaged as. I can't remember what his name was, but you know, we got those things.
He was Overlord. He was in gold, like that gold classics type packaging. Yeah, big gold box.
Yeah, but was it called Overlord?
Yeah. He was called Overlord. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I could have sworn he had a different name. But besides that, the point still stands. You know, yeah, like the UK flies the flag for Transformers and has done for a very, very
UK's had a lot of flag flying. You know, no.
Well,
again, that's another show.
That's it.
But Peter was giving instructions tonight. We're going to be taking questions from the audience that are coming up. So when there's a good question, I'm going to sort of try to interrupt, because it's best we can do in live, just to ask you guys the question while it's still in your head. Jacob is asked the question. He said, Transformers the show, Billy and Dave, will Blokees be available at TFNation 25?
I think there's a fair chance, Jacob.
I mean,
without confirming or denying anything, a fair chance.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't have the ability to force people to buy Blokees. Grabbing them by the scruff of the neck and dragging them. You know.
When he does it, threatens violence, it's okay. But when Jamie does it, oh, Andy has a problem.
It's not me, it's the police, Jamie. I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah. You know, if anybody's going to turn around and say, oh, you know, you can't do that, or what, make them, you know, buy incredibly awesome toys. Like, where's the crime in that? Huh?
Exactly.
Oh, he said it with a smile. You can't punish
That's
a man that
okay,
said it
then.
with a smile.
That's it, you know.
I have a question for you boys. How are the preparations going for Minicon in Reading? Because obviously we're 3 weeks tomorrow out, I guess. Yeah. How are plans going? Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'll hand this over to Billy, really, because what I will say from my point of view, so just in terms of like what we end up doing and stuff like that, and I've said this plenty of times before, pretty much anything that we present on stage or anything like that is usually within my remit. And what I'll say is that the Minicon, I do apologize. My dog is barking in the background because, unfortunately, idiots with fireworks. So, you know. But the plan for Reading, in terms of panels and all of that stuff, literally came together about 5 hours after TFN's finished, and it really hasn't changed. I knew what I wanted to do. I did it, and it's going to be glorious. Billy, on the other hand, had to do an awful lot more work.
I do a lot of the boring stuff. It's, you know what, logistically, it's a more difficult show than it really has any right to be, purely based on the geography of the various people who are helping out. A very large part of our show is getting stuff from one location to venue. And with this being the first venue we've used in the South, contrary to what people from the South might say about Birmingham, this is the furthest south we've had to go. So in that sense, it's been a little bit difficult putting all of the, you know, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, etc. But it's all come together. I've largely kept out of all of the stuff that Dave's alluding to there. And it was just a case of got things through on my phone one day. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Like, and it's, I don't know how much you want to talk about stuff, Dave. I'm completely cool either way, but there's definitely going to be some stuff that people haven't seen before. I think it's fair to say that, isn't it? So
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
A question we've got from Borders, dude. Will you have a Minicon in Scotland eventually?
No.
Good.
I live in Bracknell.
He answered.
I'm talking for Dave and Billy. No.
I love Scotland. I love Scotland.
But it's still a no.
No.
People keep asking about various different places, to be honest, and I'm really pleased that Orders Dude has said something really wide, like Scotland, rather than the thing people normally say, which is, I live on this street. Could you do one here, please? So, like, definitely not ruling it out. Ultimately, it will come down to how many people want them in various places, and how much time off work everybody has for me to drag a crew around the country doing these events.
If we went back up to Scotland, we could take luxuries over like apples and oranges to the natives. That would be good.
And fire.
To be able to cross the border.
Yes.
We can get past the wall. We'll be fine. Dave, sorry, were you? I believe were you about to perhaps mention something about the upcoming Minicon?
I don't know.
Dave.
Shall I? Shall I?
Yes.
Shall I tease some stuff? Okay.
Tease. It's all good.
Right. So again, when I say that, like, I pretty much get to pick what I want to do. It doesn't always mean that I'm doing things that like I have a definite passion for, or in this case in Reading, however, no, I just went full me. It suddenly dawned on me that we're in a weird time period with Transformers historically, because Reading will be within weeks of the 20th anniversary of the final issue of Dreamwave hitting stores. Now, if you were around 20 years ago, you will know that Dreamwave just came to a crashing halt. December hit, and then on January 5th, 2005, Dreamwave declared bankruptcy completely out of the blue, leaving like massive chunks of story and comics and things like that completely unfinished. And to this day, a lot of the stuff that they intended to release has never seen the light of day. And so, like I say, it's a weird transition period because that means that next year, if you do your maths, and this is where you're really going to feel old, it is the 20th anniversary of IDW. And so I thought, well, actually, you know what? We're in this like really cool position where we've got this smaller show, and we've got this sort of weird anniversary coming up, which is the 20th anniversary of the death of Dreamwave. There's a lot of stuff that people don't get because right now, online, Dreamwave is the joke. It's the thing that people make fun of. And most of the people that talk about comics now probably weren't actually reading it at the time. And outside of the reprints for the UK collection that came out a few years ago, and again, bearing in mind that the only stuff that was reprinted was the stuff that we know was actually covered and paid for by the creative teams, there's an awful large chunk of Dreamwave that you just can't read anymore. And so, yeah, if you want to know more about Dreamwave, if you want to hear some things that you've never heard before, if you want to see some stuff that's never been made public before, buy a ticket.
Awesome. We have a question from Bumble Jumper, and I've seen some dark stuff, Dave. Are you going to get? Because I tell you what, see when Transformers 1, the cast was announced, I just went, yes, the dream has come true, because it means we now have an excuse to have Scarlett Johansson come to a TFNation convention.
And to be clear, that was the only thing stopping Scarlett Johansson from ever going.
Yeah, that was it. That was
wide open now.
I'm sorry, Scarlett's agent. Yet no, she's got no connection whatsoever to try. I don't care how desperate she is. And I understand she wants to be on the stage with me, but it's just not going to happen. Well, what's that story? Transformers 1, you say?
Oh dear.
It's a dream.
We'll take that as a maybe.
It feels hope. Kind of.
Amazingly, that's the question. Brilliant. Oh, fantastic.
I mean, The Rock's been in Transformers as well. Should we just like...
Yeah, get The Rock.
He died. Loser.
He was Cliffjumper. Of course he died. That seems to be the norm, doesn't it now?
I've got a question. This is probably for someone new, so it's not really make you, Dave and Billy. But what's your favorite Transformers you guys have got this year?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Is this like? Can we just say Blokees in general?
Blokees.
Actually, you know what? Like on the subject of Blokees, like. And again, just tying it all into Dreamwave, like we got like a really cool Sunstorm, who, like, if you look at the packaging for it, is I think like classified as like, is it? Oh no, is it the Ultra Magnus that's classified as DW Ultra Magnus? And you're like, I get that reference. You're saying that's Dreamwave Ultra Magnus. That's cool. But yeah, Sunstorm's pretty funky and
lights up.
He lights up.
Very cool.
I got as a present, I don't know if you can see it, it's up there somewhere. I got the G.I. Joe crossover Soundwave, which I know people have opinions on, but I really like it. It's a massive, chunky beast of a toy.
And the Ravage is awesome. exceptional.
Yeah, very cool.
Do we have to answer that question?
Yeah, I was going to say.
You go for it.
I
You
hope
go
so.
for it,
It
Peter.
got
Go
really
for it.
I think
quiet
Pete's
there.
struggling. He's just looking at his collection going, oh, God. What did I get this year? There's so many.
Squeeze
Which ones
play.
did I
He
like?
loves it so much he won't even touch it.
Do you know what? No, I'm gonna dial the clock back. G1 Misfire. I'd never experienced. Well, I'll rephrase it. I hadn't experienced a toy in 30 odd years, and then I picked it up at Sandown Toy Fair, and I came back, and I bloody love it. Absolutely,
Really good
bloody love
articulation
it.
for a G1 toy.
Yes, yeah. Smidge more than none.
No, he's got full knees and everything, if I remember correctly.
You should do a review in that, Pete. I would really love that.
No, because if I transform it too much, it might break.
My choice is there's only one for me, and it's Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Just a majestic character. Yeah. And I love the articulation on the shoulders. I just, being able to hold a gun like that, it just, yeah. So, yeah, it ticks all the boxes. The vehicle mode as well is majestic, which I had transformed and showed on Transformers the show last week. Yeah, he's a brilliant figure.
It took me a while to learn to love him. I had to learn to love him.
Pete's a while.
We were the same way with Pete, but don't worry about it.
Such a prick.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Still not been bought over yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not 100%. Right. Am I the only one who hasn't said one? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do a Billy. I'm going to choose two. For a modern toy, Legacy Armada Optimus Prime, because I got that one and I missed it the first time, and it is just an absolute belter. Although I haven't got Studio Series 86 Prime yet, so maybe that will be usurp it, but it's going to have to go some. And then Universe King Atlas, which I picked up really randomly from somebody who'd commented in our Facebook group and was based in America. And when I said, "Oh yeah, I really want one of them," he said, "Well, I've had mine up on eBay for months and nobody's even asked me about it." And it's because he'd set his eBay to only be US only. And then from a bit of a messenger conversation, and then my wife jumping in there and just swooping in, making me think I'd missed out on it, I end up with this Universe King Atlas figure that was very rare and very cool. So for those who don't know, that's like one of the repaints of Skyquake, the G1 Skyquake figure, the old plastic Syndrome one that I've got over there that I don't touch because I don't want him to die. With none of the gold plastic in it. But yeah, those are two of, but there's so many this year. There's so many toys. Oh God, there's so many toys. Yeah. And they've all been so the Blokees, you are right, Dave. Like Blokees have just been, I don't know, they've just come out of nowhere and just like, wow.
Just like my Blokees.
That's all anyone can say. That should be your review video. Sitting there smiling Blokees.
Do you know what though? And I keep saying this, and I will say it on every platform that I am given. Like the moment some of these genius people who can do 3D printing start printing Action Master accessories and vehicles for Blokees, they're going to make a fortune.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Another important question which comes up is basically TFNation Reading, which a lot of people were starting to get a bit nervous about, was the watering hole, the location where people would hopefully meet up. And obviously that's been answered. Called the Dairy. I hope you can get me up there because I'd be a bit disappointed if you can't. But yes, local craft bar and kitchen.
You're always on the milk when we go to these events, Jamie.
Yeah.
We've all said
cold,
that.
And it increases in temperature as the day goes on.
Yeah, not another pint of milk, Jamie. Calm down.
Is it an exclusive? Has there been any luck to increase the opening time by another 5 minutes?
It's a hotly contested issue. We'll let you know.
It's going to escalate it to the committee after this call.
Hey, look, whenever we're done with these shows, we're straight to bed.
Oh dear.
What,
I wish I was joking as well. I'm too old and tired for all this.
my question for you, gentlemen, was what was your first Transformers convention?
I'll let
Yes,
you go
I'm
first,
the old,
Dave.
I'm
Chronologically,
the old one here, aren't I? Like, Auto Assembly 2005, 2004, 2005. I want to say. No, yeah, it would have been about 2004. This was, and this is what I say to people is like, when people ask like what is Minicon in comparison to like the main show, I kind of say like, did you go to Transformers conventions 20 years ago? And if they say no, which inevitably they do, I go, it's kind of like that, like in the sense that it's got like this flavor of, you know, it's a one-day thing, and that's what it was. The only difference is that unlike back then, which is what I used to do, you couldn't make off like a villain with sealed Beast Wars toys for like £3 each. So I think that was it. You know, there was that. There was another convention called Transforce. I only went to one of those. A lot of those old ones. You know, around the time that the Metrodome DVDs were coming out, Dreamwave was coming out. You know, it was a very different time. Like, I'll talk a little bit about this actually at the convention, but like, I think a lot of people kind of don't understand that like a lot of this was going on. You know, this is pre-wiki. Like, this is when like this is pre-Generation 1 ever having a complete full series box set release. You know, like it was a very, very different time.
Dave, my question is,
well, does anybody else?
Eyes are looking at
should we let
section
Billy?
blue.
Should we let Billy answer?
Oh, sorry. No,
No,
I was
no,
just
okay.
thinking.
I mean, we can, but mine's purely a number.
You've got very nice brown eyes, Billy. I was just thinking that as I was commenting. Dave's very blue eyes.
Dig up.
Save.
Auto Assembly 2008. But I don't have as great a story as Dave. My friends wanted me to go for years. My friends online, I never did. It became a bit of a joke, so I finally went one year, and now I get great stick that they can't get away from me at conventions. And that's about it, to be honest, from me.
What was made it hard for you to go to conventions when you were younger?
I had massive anxiety. I think I've spoken about this on a couple of platforms before. I was like really of the camp where like, how do I describe it? Like proper social anxiety stuff. Like I couldn't walk into a cafe. Cafes terrified me. Not that a convention is a cafe, but just as an example, like lots of things like that I just couldn't do. So I would make excuses up, and people knew I was making excuses up. So I had to take that first step. But in hindsight, I regret very few things in life, even if I make a terrible decision. And like, it's not a regret of mine that I had trouble with anxiety for years, because now on the other side of it, I can look at people and say like, hey, you know, it never goes away. But I took a first step, and look, I've got loads of friends in the community now. So I think it's been really useful for that. But yeah, that was it. It was that simple.
I always think that's good for people to hear, because the one thing I always hear and read in Twitter and you read in Facebook is lots of people who had never been to TFNation. And I was really happy in TFNation last year, this year even, which to me was, I think, the best TFNation ever I've been to, was there was so many people came in this Sunday when it was quieter who had never been to a TFNation convention, and I was able to meet them. And it was just majestic to see the joy in the face, and they were taking their children and they were loving it.
And that's the best part of it. That's like whether you have an hour-long deep conversation with one person, or whether you just say a quick hello, or just generally in a nice atmosphere with people, I think it's all equally valid. And like a lot of people's favorite convention is their second one, because they go for the first time and realize, oh, actually, I feel more at home here than I thought I would, and then get really into it the next time around. So, no, I agree with you, and that's why, years ago it would have been an embarrassing thing for me to talk about. It's not now, because I feel like if it can do anyone some good, then hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Wicked.
it's kind of a funny old one, like going to conventions, because, and I say this all the time, I don't like conventions. Like, if there was a convention down the street or something like that, and somebody was going to say like, "Oh, you want to go?" I would say no, and it's just because what do you do? You go and you stand in a line for a really, 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 really long time. You get in, you wander around a bunch of tables for a bunch of stuff that you might find some interest in. And then you might go see a panel. You then go to maybe see a guest, and then you go home. And it's kind of like there's nothing really there. But the reason that I went to a Transformers one was entirely for that reason that I mentioned earlier, is the fact that it is a Transformers one, and I'm like, all right, okay, well, I know enough about Transformers to be dangerous. But none of my friends, my local friends, like, were into Transformers in the same way I was. And I went there, and that those first couple of years, I had a few conversations with people at the event, but it wasn't really anything meaningful or anything like that. And you walk on, and you because effectively that's what you did. You went and you bought toys and stuff. It wasn't until 2008, which was kind of like the big explosion, when, thanks to like YouTube and social media, everybody knew who everybody else was, and that's when the game totally changed. And then it was like, right, this is fun now, because I don't need to like worry or anything like that. And everybody was just so welcoming. Like, this community is ace, man. Like, it really, really is. So yeah, conventions can be a funny thing, as Billy says, whether it's because of anxiety or whether it's just because of a general dislike of the convention format, which I think to some extent we kind of buck the trend to in the most feasible way that we can, and try to make it less of a quote unquote convention. It's a good holiday, and it is for some people as well. It is literally their holiday. They save up all year to go to Birmingham, which is not something a lot of people can say, to be honest.
Emma loves it. Emma loves it. She looks forward to it every year. So, where do you want to go in the world, my love? Birmingham. That's where I want to go.
And more specifically, one hotel in Birmingham for 3 days.
I mean,
Solid,
right,
no outdoors.
I'll see what I can do.
No, one of my favorite parts of it is I always think you can make what you want of the weekend, because like Dave can put together all of these wonderful panels, and with the other people who pitch in, and sometimes we have outside contributors and stuff, and like we take great pride, I think, in trying to put together a show as much as a trader hall. But ultimately, like, there are people who come to TFNation who don't go in the trader hall, and Dave will tell you this: they will come, they will pitch up, and they will watch every minute of what's on stage. And there are people who have never been in the panel room, and then hopefully a lot of people are somewhere in between. So I think it's really cool that you can really make it your own. Like, we give you like the entrance, but then it's up to you what you do from there. Choose your own adventure kind of stuff. You might even you might even meet some of these fine gentlemen in the bars. So that's well
Or
worth the
even the
price of
trader
admission.
halls or the panels. Because the one thing I find, my experience of conventions, is what makes TFNation for me stand out is the people helping out love the Transformers as well, and they're so friendly, they're so helpful. They'll literally will bend over backwards to help you, and I think sometimes you're taken aback by that, and that is something which I think is quite unique. I would say to TFNation. Not disrespecting big conventions like MCM London and stuff like that, but they don't have that sort of personal touch. And I think with TFNation last year, you had record numbers. This year, sorry, I keep saying last year, you had record numbers, and yet you still didn't want to make it too busy, so the people who did come had a better experience, and that to me is exceptional.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, but you've hit the nail on the head there. It's like it's all well and good. Like, you know, we're allowed to sell twice as many tickets as that if we want to. Yeah, well, that's great, but like, at what cost? People don't have a good time. What's the point of doing it? So, yeah, I think that's a really good point you raised.
And that probably leads in to my next question. Sorry guys, I'm hijacking it because I have like loads of questions in my brain. But if someone has another one cut across, but you've both been involved with conventions for a lot of years now, and you've been involved with the franchise for a lot more. What for you keeps the enthusiasm and the excitement to stay involved and keep pushing every year? Because you're obviously involved with another convention, and then TFN launched, and TFN's gone from strength to strength, excusing the global blip, but it's gone from strength to strength. I mean, what still drives you?
I think you could probably ask everyone on the team and get a different answer to that, to be honest. I'm interested in knowing what drove Dave before his fall from grace earlier this evening. I'm hoping we can welcome him back at some point, but I don't know. For me, it's weird. It's a combination of two things. The first thing, honestly, is like the friendships I've made along the way. And I know that sounds like the corniest thing in the world, but like I'm really good mates with Dave, and like Dave really likes Transformers. I really like Transformers, and like sometimes we'll get on a call. Without spoiling anything, we have meetings with some outside parties who may or may not be of relevance to future conventions, and so we'll get on a call a little bit early. And we'll just end up talking about Transformers, and it'll just naturally go into a lot of what we're doing tonight. And I think if that wasn't there, if we were, and again, nothing against those big conventions, but if we were like one of those conventions where we just had like a traditional boss character and then volunteers, and that was the end of it, like, what's the point of doing it? You're not going to enjoy it. So that's the first part for me. And the second part, honestly, it comes back to the anxiety thing. Is I always get asked, this sounds a bit weird, but like, there were points where people would ask me, with reference to my age, might I add, when are you going to stop doing this convention stuff? Because you're 28 now, you're 30 now, you're 35. It kept going. It's like, when are you going to stop doing it? And I've always had a stock answer, which is like, as soon as it becomes not weird for me to sit by a random dude in a pub and be like, do you like my new Ultra Magnus? Now, in hindsight, it will never not be weird. But that's kind of the thing, and that's what I really enjoy about it, is that there are people who come to and it's people from all walks of life, but there are people who come who are very open about the fact that they don't have great social circles. They maybe don't have the means to enjoy a holiday abroad every year or something like that. And this is their one time where they can get together with like-minded people. And they might not even talk about Transformers. That's not the point. The point is when you know that this person sat opposite you, who sat there playing, let's use Carnivac because I dissed him so poorly earlier on. If someone's playing with a Carnivac, right, odds are they're probably not going to have an awful opinion of a TV show that you like. you can gauge the kind of stuff that person's into, and so you can have a chat about anything in the world. And I think that atmosphere means an awful lot to people. So that's the thing for me. Dave will hopefully have a more Transformers-centric answer, but it's just
Actually,
that. Plus, I'm a masochist, so yeah.
No, you know what? I like from a Transformers point of view, you know, I always like when something happens that you don't intend like to happen, and it just sort of turns into something absolutely incredible. For example, this year at the script reading, like my wife had a really dumb idea for a concept for a script reading, purely because of the fact that she doesn't care about Transformers at all, but she knows Greg Berger voiced EO. And then that leads into me and Gav Spence of all people, like writing this thing, which we had timed ourselves as 25 minutes. And we were like, right, it's 25 minutes. And then the cast got hold of it, and it ended up as like a 45-minute like radio drama of this just beautiful little story of Beast Wars Megatron and EO hanging out together. Like, you know, like dumb stuff like that. So like from a Transformers point of view, like that's great. You know, I'm not going to say like spending time like on stage with David Kay or like Greg Berger or, you know, Catherine Kavari is like a bad thing. It is not. Like, you know, I am geeking out as hard as I possibly can. But again, much like Billy says, it comes down to the people. Like Billy lied to you earlier on, by the way, as well. When we have 5 minutes alone, we don't talk about Transformers. We're always talking about wrestling. Like if we could do a wrestling convention, we would sack this stupid robot thing off in a second. But that's a much bigger pond to play in. But you know, Billy was my best man at my wedding. Like that's what TFNation and like Transformers conventions gave me. Like, you know, it. And might I add that he insulted me harshly in his best man speech.
I'd like to hear.
And your wife, if I remember.
Yeah, and my wife. Nobody was safe. You know, and I met Billy randomly on a staircase at a convention, and that was it. You know, so yeah, like it just the question of like what drives you to keep doing it. One, you never know what's going to happen next. And there's always just these little people moments. Like if I can just one final anecdote. This year, I got a message out the blue, like just before the show from a guy that I used to go to school with, who I haven't seen in about 10 years. Had him on Facebook. When I was at school, so this was secondary school, you know, 30 and 40 and stuff like that. I became good friends with him, and I went to his house one night. And this was after I'd gotten rid of all my Transformers, because that's kids stuff. I'm a man now. I don't care. I went to his house, and he still had all of his Transformers, and he had all of the Marvel comics, and he had all the VHS tapes. So naturally, we immediately bonded. He moved down to London after meeting his wife. And so, like I say, I haven't seen him in a decade. He messaged me out the blue and goes, "Hey, you're still doing this Transformers thing? Because I'm actually going to be up in Birmingham, like just for the Friday. Do you mind if like I pop in and you can meet the family?" I'm like, yeah, cool. And, like he comes up and like I say hello to him and stuff. He introduces me to his family. And he's got 2 little kids, probably, I would say, you know, 10, 11 years old. And Hero, his son, kind of looks at me and goes, are there guests here? And I'm like, yeah, there's guests here. Bearing in mind, this is like Friday before the convention starts. He's like, so do you get like all of the big guests? And I'm like, yeah, this is where this kid's going to turn around and say like, is Peter Cullen here? And I'm going to be like, no. And he looks at me and he goes, is Simon Furman here? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I meet Simon Furman? And I'm like, So I pulled my phone out, like literally messaged Simon, just going, Simon, are you free for a second? And he's like, well, I'm up in my room chilling out. I'm like, could you possibly pop down? And Furman came down. I had no idea what I was after. Came down. I was like, would you mind like just meeting these two kids? And out of Hero's backpack, he produces the Titan collection of Target 2006. And I'm like, this is parenting done. Just flawless. And Simon just like spends like 10 minutes with these two kids talking about Marvel UK. And I'm just standing there with just the biggest grin on my face. And then Simon disappears off to his room and like comes back. And he's got like a couple of prints that have been done, like of the old Marvel UK covers. And he signs them and he gives them. And I'm just like, yeah, man, this is why I still do it. Because that's awesome. You know, yeah, that stuff's brilliant. When you get told one year that coming to TFN, this was by a young little girl as well, with her dad. When she turns around and says, "We had the choice of coming here or going to Disney, and this was better than Disney."
Oh, awesome!
You know, like I'm sure as soon as like they left, she was like, "God, I wish we'd gone to Disney." But yeah, man, that's why I do it. Like that's why, because it's just fun. Like it is.
And I think, you know, when you extrapolate, you know, your two feelings across the whole TFN team, I think it's easy to see why TFN is such a enjoyable experience for everybody, because you do all genuinely love it, and it's believable that you do love it because it comes across in the experience, I think, for the attendees.
Yeah.
It really is. It's magic. It's like Christmas in August for us, you know.
Just a darn sight more expensive than Christmas.
Yeah, agreed.
Not Christmas is more expensive. What was I thinking?
I think we'll do a final call for any questions from the chat.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what Dave said. So anyone's got questions, ask. But second day, I was like, at university, I was really lucky, especially when I went to another university down in England. That the rugby people and the rowing people I was friends with, they love Transformers. You know, they're like ecstatic, and one of them, my best friends, like Rob Jeffco, he just like a fanatical Transformers fan, and he's still doing high-end rowing, does Henley, one of the top lightweights in the country. And I always think it's quite amazing, you know, when you sort of meet someone who you have a shared love of. And I think thanks to like what you said about 2007 when Facebook came about, 2008, it just got easier and easier to meet people who you had similar interests in. And that's how I was lucky enough to meet this gorgeous man, Andy. You know, originally met at TFNation, and I think the first words I said, "You're an exceptionally well-proportioned individual," because I never bother to look at the profile, because you never do you?
Not so much now, Jamie. Not so much now.
and I went, I'll introduce you to Paul, and he's even taller. I was like, oh. And then I meet Pete, and I went, fucking hell, they're all just fucking tall. You know, he's 6'4" as well. Where's the small fans? But yeah, you know.
I did wonder if you weren't running the convention, but you were just to attend it. Like, what do you think? What kind of fan do you think you would be? Because you mentioned about obviously some fans come for the panels, and that's their main focus. Others, it is the toys and the dealer hall. Like, for some, it's the bar area and just like seeing those friends that they maybe only get to meet up with when it's a TFN event. Because people are spread out across the country. And we should mention as well, obviously, the amount of people, like this year, the amount of people I met who'd flown in from Europe and America and all over the world to be at TFN. It's like, you know, it's reached that kind of stage of being so international. Well, like, what type of fan do you think it would be if you were attending it? What would be your focus?
Oh, I know exactly what I would be, because there's a clip on a special feature of one of the Metrodome box sets of a mullet-wearing David sitting in a panel going, in issue 46, Mr. Furman, So yeah, I would absolutely be that panel guy. Like,
I'm gonna watch all those to scour it to find you now.
my wife has agreed that the mullet will never come back.
Pink hair before mullet.
Yeah, definitely that. Definitely that. Billy?
I don't know what I'd be, because I tried to attend as an attendee and it failed, and I had to volunteer because I'm just like I really struggle to do stuff that isn't work in some capacity. Dave will know better than anyone. There's like a running joke within the committee that I haven't seen movies. Any of them. I don't know how a person can have 3 hours spare to do a thing which isn't work. It just, my brain doesn't work that way. So I would probably be somebody who, I think I'd go to a lot more panels than I would spend time in the trader hall. I'd be on the back row and I'd have my laptop on my lap doing a sneaky bit of work whilst listening to a panel. But the beauty is you could do that. Well, you can do that. There are charging ports all around that building. Right? It's absolutely fine. So,
I could give you lessons, Billy, on how to be lazy. In fact, Liddell means lazy, idle. It means in Scottish, idle means lazy. You know, so it's in my blood.
we should
This
help.
is Jamie's moment. This is let him shine.
Laziness in Transformers with Jamie Liddell.
Pete, if you want to ask Border Dude's question.
So with guests, who would Dave and Billy like to get if money was no object? Probably mortality as well at this point, isn't it?
You're on stage, Dave. So this is, I mean, I'll answer as well, but this is more a you question. So
if we're talking like, what's that? I know. I'm answering. Hold on. If we were talking like anybody, like if necromancy was also an option, and I could have any guest, like honestly, like the one person that I would love to sit down and talk to, just not just necessarily about Transformers, but everything, would be Scatman Crothers. Just like every G1 voice actor that you talk about at some point brings up Scatman, like, and just like and you watch interviews with him and you see him perform and stuff, and you just think you were just one cool brother. Like, you know, so I would love to have had the opportunity to meet Scatman Crothers. If we're talking about like money is no object and any guest, I don't know. Like, it's such a weird one. Because there's obvious picks. But I would be really fascinated to know why The Rock did that cameo in Transformers Prime. Like, it's a bit weird.
I was just going to say, as a wrestling fan, it's got to be The Rock, surely, even if he only was in that one episode. But
yeah, like The Rock headlining TFNation would be kind of an interesting thing.
Let's watch your highlights. That was 3 minutes.
If you want someone top was covered in oil, I could do that for you, Dave. But seriously, we should get Scarlett Johansson and Megan Fox.
And now you know the real reason Dave spends less time in the bar.
And why they're trying to get an injunction out on Jamie attending.
Oh dear. Did you have a choice, Billy?
who would I pick? Maybe Megan Fox. I think Michaela was like the most interesting character in the live action movies. So
Very
maybe
interesting.
maybe
Very
Megan Fox.
yeah.
But like, it's, no, I do,
Jamie's
I do.
trying to hold himself back.
Yeah.
Maybe we have different angles on this, but that's fine.
A lot of
But it's
depth
weird
to the
'cause-
character.
It's weird because I do a lot of I do the guest negotiations. So like if one comes and they're horrible, it's my fault. But like, so I kind of, and I happily tell all of the guests this when we see them as well. I'm wonderfully emotionally detached from who they are and who they've played and whatever. Like, you're a person who's got to get on a flight right now, and I'm going to put you in this taxi, and that's the end of it. That's like how it goes with me. So like, from my point of view, it's not so much big budget, how big a part they've played. It's just like how cool are they when you're talking to them? Like, do they make you go through? I don't mind saying this, like, and I'm sure the other big Transformers conventions across the pond have this as well. We're well known enough now that we could never email another guest again, and we'd still get guests every year because they come to us now. So every year we have to politely decline more than we can bring for budget reasons, and it's like sometimes you really, really want to bring some of the people who've got in touch with you, and sometimes it's 7 layers of agents, and it's like, I don't need this. Like, I just want to know if somebody's going to be nice when they meet people in the bar. Like, and that really is the thing with me. If they've got a really cool role as well, what I will say, I could tease a little bit without doing it too much. This is my favorite time of year because this is when a lot of the guest talks get finalized. And this is one of my favorite years because it's not a massive anniversary, like massive G1 anniversary, which was last year. And we've got the 86 movie anniversary coming up soon. And we've got the 07 movie anniversary coming up soon. These big anniversaries where people have certain expectations. I love years like this, where it's just like, we can kind of go a bit crazy with the guest list. The best example I can give is if you go back and look at the guest list we had the year that Stan Bush came. It was a really weird year where we didn't need to celebrate anything, or we didn't feel the need to celebrate anything in particular. So it was like, let's just go a bit mad. And I really like that. So yeah, for me, it's not about like a checkbook. It's about how interesting and how nice are you as a person, and do we have the opportunity to celebrate something we wouldn't normally? Because I think that could be really interesting, especially for Dave. Because like, how often, Dave will know this. Like, how often do we have a conversation where it's like, do you think you could work with this person? Because I'll speak with someone. I'll be like, that's really, really strange. Let's go with that. Fortunately, Dave never says no, so we get some cool guests out of it.
It's kind of funny as well because, like, and Billy and I talk about this like all of the time. Like, we've been fortunate enough to not only do we get to spend time with the guests at the show, but obviously we'll spend a lot of time with the guests, pre-show in negotiations, and again, post-show in terms of wrap-up and stuff like that. And there's some guests that just really stick out to you for no other reason than the fact that they're just awesome people. Like, it's not that they played the biggest part, or that they, were the headline act for your event, and so you bent over backwards to like make them feel like really. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just got something to do with the fact that they're just amazing people, and they're people who, like, one of the downsides to doing this convention is that, and it's a horrible thing to say, but since Billy brought up budgetary reasons, we have to make the show enticing. We have to make sure that we're not doing the same convention again and again and again. We need people to come back and support the show, and it's great in the sense that you're always doing something new. It sucks when you're like, oh, can we just bring this person back because they were great? And it's like, no, we can't really. Like, not yet, and there's some recency bias in that, because you've just met them and stuff like that. But yeah, there are some guests that just stick out to you. I mean, and I say this like with a tinge of sadness and stuff, but I mean, like, the fact that, like, we never got to bring Peter back for one last show, just like, it's so sad. But there was a man who, by his own admission, we literally changed his life. So the guests sometimes come over and make a real impression on us, and sometimes we make a real impression on the guests.
You said crazy things there, and for thinking that far ahead, the Transformers, 1986 celebration, which is going to be huge. Me and Jack Lawrence had an idea in the show where we'd get a paddling pool in the bar, and me and Jack Lawrence would reenact the shark pit, where me and Jack Lawrence would run around in a circle and see how much water we can get with other people chasing us. So
you're never going to get insurance for that, Jamie. You're going to slip.
No, we'll be wearing Speedos, obviously.
Jamie's ideas. Jamie's ideas do not represent the ideas of Transformers the show.
And goggles would be essential. If we could get small children to do the Sharkticons, that would be better, because it would get this right sort of like, I know, proportions. But yeah.
Would the goggles be essential for the people sat around rather than you two?
No, that's funny and everything, but I and Steve, one of the Mapes brothers, the Hilton invited us to one of the showcase events that they do annually. They invited us to this year's one, so it's just an opportunity for them to say, here are our facilities, have a look around, here's the AV people we work with and stuff. And like the first room we walked into had a massive fish tank with a mermaid splashing around. So like it's there, the technology exists.
The dream.
Why are you telling him
we
that?
have the technology?
Why
Jack Lawrence wanted to do this as well. Jack Lawrence wanted to do this, just not me.
Just like that, Billy opened the door to horror.
It's a Halloween special, isn't it?
Just because we could doesn't mean we should.
Oh, it's Jurassic Park all over again.
With the fear of this conversation getting any weirder, shall we draw a line under this, gentlemen?
Can I just ask very quick? This is genuinely a very quick question. How much in terms of tickets is left for the Minicon Reading? Because some people obviously who might not have grabbed theirs yet might be starting to get a bit worried they're not going to be able to get one, given how close we are to the convention. Is there tickets still available?
There are tickets still available. It's definitely on the. I'm not going to give you a percentage and lie, but it's definitely substantially less than half. It might be less than 2/3. There are some still available. It's a different venue, obviously, to the venue in Manchester. So we have a little bit more capacity there, which is good. But at the same time, and I'm being very open with the crew about this as well, it is the first time we've used the venue. So I'm not intending to. The venue has given us a capacity. I'm going to undersell that capacity on purpose to make sure we have an enjoyable event for everyone first. If we're happy with it and we decide to go back, maybe we'll increase next year. So yes, there are tickets still available, not loads, but you can definitely still get them at the moment if you head over to tfnation.com.
Brilliant.
Awesome. As Dave left, we're ending the way we started.
He's dropped
couldn't
Well,
bear to say
I never
goodbye.
like people with blue eyes anyway. I'm just saying.
But no, it should be really good. I know you boys have been before, but for anyone who hasn't, the mini-cons are really cool because of their smaller nature. So one pattern that we're seeing, actually, and we've seen this with all of them, is that something like 40% of attendees are consistently first timers at mini-cons. And then they become attendees who, they don't all do this, but like a lot of them will then come back for the bigger show. So it's a really good starting place. And it's a really good atmosphere for us because we get to actually chill out and see some of you people in the bar afterwards as well, which is good.
Yes.
So yeah, if you can come along, do so. It's what have you got to lose? It's a good time.
And it's a great it's a great event to tip your toe in the water, isn't it? And it's like if you enjoy the one day event and you walk away thinking, oh, I wish I could hang around tonight, and I wish I could see the guys tomorrow and stuff. You know, the bigger event in August is that perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, looping back to the anxiety point I made earlier, actually, I probably had the benefit back in 2008 of going to a single day convention. Whereas for the last however many years, TFN has been like a 3-day beast, and more days if you come for the social aspect. So it probably can feel a bit daunting as a first time, although you can come for a single day. I get why people might not want to. So this takes us back to something that I found accessible, and hopefully other people will too. So yeah, I think like if I could have gone to this, not necessarily a TFN mini-con even, but like if I could have gone to an event the size of this rather than the size of the convention I first went to, I think I would have made the decision more quickly, because I wouldn't have been like, oh, there's 500 people in a hall, that's scary. I'd be like, oh, it's a couple of hundred people, okay, that sounds a bit more manageable. So yeah, it's a good first step, but then you must make many more.
Well, we're biased. TFN holds a very special place in our heart because it's what brought us together at various years and stuff. But I think I can probably speak for the guys but they can have their own opinion. If you are sitting on the fringes and you're thinking you'd like to give it a go, take the plunge. And I can 100% guarantee you will not look back. It's a wonderful experience. You get to meet some wonderful people, and I think it's really easy for someone without anxieties or any, of those social challenges to sit there and say, just do it, just put yourself out there. But I think if you did take a risk, it will pay dividends, and you'll be so glad you did.
The first step's always the most difficult, but
Yeah.
once you've taken it, I can only speak from my point of view. For me, it was entirely worth it. Apart from having to socialise with people like Dave Wallace, that aside, it's been net positive otherwise. Very quickly, sorry, I saw a question there from RJ about hotels. RJ, I'll put a post up about hotels soon, mate. There are several in the area. The easiest answer, not wanting to push one over another, is Premier Inn is probably your safest and closest bet. But I'll put a post up with a few different options for you, mate.
Brilliant.
Perfect. Billy, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate. I appreciate, with a couple of weeks to go, things are really busy. Thanks for taking 2 hours and 42 minutes out of your schedule.
No problem. Appreciate it. Sorry about the tech issue at the start, but always a pleasure. Really appreciate you guys having me on, us on, whoever it is that's here. It's really great that you let us, take up your platform for an evening to tell people about the event. So yeah, we are really appreciative. So thank you very much.
No, you're welcome, mate. Thank you for coming.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Please go to TF
Transformers the show on Facebook and TF the show on Twitter and all the other ones we never remembered. So we have to say them.
In fact, if only we had an end credits that
would
had
be great.
all of the links on.
That would be absolutely fantastic.
It's time for Transformers, the show!